Anyway, Rey just flies to Octo. Does she know how to... She's been there once, and she knows how to get there.
Yeah, I guess she knows how to get there, even though it took
needed a map and,
to get there.
A long journey.
Not only is she like
well.
a Mary Sue, she has a photographic memory to add to that.
Mm-hmm.
So then she lands there, and we cut to the TIE fighter on fire, and she's throwing logs on it.
Wood makes metal burn.
And
Chuck enough on it.
Obviously, JJ was like, wait, I want this TIE fighter to be on fire, but I don't know how she's going to do that, so I'm just going to cut to it already being on fire.
She has a lightsaber.
I guess.
Maybe
it's possible. It's just funny, I think, that it wasn't shown. I don't know.
Also, depending on, like, this is, like, actual plane lore. There are, like, survival kits in every, like, issue of a plane. There's, like, ways to start fires in these survival kits. And,
sure.
And if it's a military one,
so she's sitting there reading a first order manual.
Yeah, you'll have, like,
how
do I set this damn thing on fire?
Maybe Yoda just shows up.
Like, which would make sense.
But instead, as far as she knows, she could just toss it in the water and that'll keep her there. But the reason she doesn't do that is because moments later, Luke Skywalker lifts his X-Wing out of the water and it still works. So if they had thrown the TIE fighter in the water, then that would have still worked and she could have just taken that.
So it's common knowledge that you can't throw your ship in the water because it's not going to wreck it.
You could
So she knew.
You could crash it into the water.
But she thinks that that's the case because the reason Luke didn't come back was because he marooned himself and put his X-Wing in the water. Except it was fine, actually.
So, I'm like, why didn't you just like autopilot and have it fly with the sunset and just like run out of feeling crap? Like there are logical ways to do this.
Who knows?
There's also logical ways to fish, but somehow Luke had to
the giant
spear and like
stab it.
What in the world?
Fishing rod or net.
One of the stupidest
my
scenes.
Dude, water exists. Please drink that for our sake.
Yeah.
So this is actually one of the nicer pairs of scenes in the film is Kylo with Han and Rey with Luke. I mean, it's total damage control, the Luke scene, because he grabs the lightsaber.
Yeah, so Rey burns the TIE fighter and then throws Luke's old lightsaber, it was also Anakin's old lightsaber, flies through the air, and the ghost of Luke Skywalker catches it. And he says, "This is an important weapon. You don't throw this away." Something like that. And it feels, obviously, like that's JJ saying, remember how Ryan had Luke throw this? That was dumb. See, my Luke understands that was a stupid move by his Luke.
Yup.
And what Chris Terrio says, writer of Batman vs. Superman and this movie, is that it's actually just reaffirming that Luke went on an arc in Last Jedi and knows his actions in that movie were dumb. And I believe that that's what they were trying to do. I can believe that.
This seems plausible.
Yeah.
Like, I have no issues.
What arc did he go on and how?
I mean,
the arc was wanting to cut himself off from the Force, and then by the end, he was
because you can just do that.
I'm a reconnect and Force Skype and then die. So like, there was kind of an arc
when he
there,
could have just lifted up his X-wing and flown,
which would have been
awesome in the same
awesome.
exact amount of time it took Rey to get back.
But anyway, I can see where he says, yeah, he did. I could see an arc there.
mm-hmm.
So then he sits down with Rey, and this time it's not just a Force ghost pretending to sit because the actor was an old man who needed to sit. It's actually Luke Skywalker, a corporeal Force ghost sitting on a real log. Call back to the first time we ever saw a Force ghost touch something, and that's not what happened, people.
Is this the first time that like ghosts? No, Yoda interacts with the real world.
Yeah, in Last Jedi, he calls lightning.
But so that's like interacting because he's using the Force. He's like controlling the weather. Is that a thing that Force users can do?
Not to my knowledge.
So that's two things that Yoda did.
And also, like,
he's a Sith Lord.
it's using the Force from beyond death for like more than just talking to someone, which is ridiculously powerful. And if you can just do that, wait till Kylo Ren or Snoke gets on a planet and just hit them with a bolt of lightning. Even if that's all you can do that.
Yeah.
What is stopping you?
Or like,
I refuse to believe there's some stupid like, oh, I cannot interfere. This is your quest.
No.
I refuse to believe that. That is not how it was in the original trilogy.
And also with all of like the Jedi that have died over the course of time, you're gonna have like literally like an armada of Force ghosts that can like just like rain down lightning if they're all on your team.
Well, it's supposed to be that Qui-Gon was the first to discover how to be a Force ghost, which I personally always thought was one of the dumbest things.
Like, why him?
Yeah.
Why Qui-Gon, and how did he figure that out? Why has this never happened before?
Isn't Qui-Gon supposed to be like an outcast Jedi? Like they're all kind of like, this kid's crazy.
He was like a more rogue Jedi.
Which I
personally don't feel like comes across in those movies because he's very
stoic and
yeah.
But like in Empire, isn't Obi-Wan like, well, I cannot interfere?
Yeah, he literally says I cannot interfere.
That is setting up a rule.
I think that's Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi?
Yeah, I think that's Return of the Jedi.
I'm like, he's interfering by giving information. Information is a weapon.
But that's all they can do. Like, basically.
As of
that trilogy and the prequels, all ghosts can do is talk.
And he's saying he can't interfere with Luke's confrontation.
Yeah. As in, like, I can't help you.
Yeah.
Because I'm a ghost.
Right.
What do you want me to do? Sit on the sideline and be like, yeah, Luke, you can do it.
Hey, Annie, do you remember, like, when you sucked at life?
Anakin, remember when I cut your legs off?
No!
I love how Obi-Wan's like, he's more machine now than man, twisted and evil. Like, oh yeah, I definitely didn't cut all his limbs off. He's just an evil machine guy.
He didn't do it maliciously.
It is a fault of the prequels, to be fair.
It is a little bit. It would be interesting if Sith cut their limbs off as a way to torment themselves and channel more pain.
Definitely.
I don't think you would cut your limbs off for that.
I mean, maybe
you could have like a suit or something that drains.
I mean,
your
like
constant
Darth Vader's suit is like, according to extended universe lore, like built to hurt him and be difficult for him, so that he's more angry.
Yeah. Also, I'm like, something that the sequel trilogy does that I loved when I first saw it, and I think I still like, is during the snow fight in The Force Awakens, Kylo is punching his wounds to get more angry and get more powerful, which was great. Too. That was really cool.
He got shot with
Chewbacca's bowcaster, which is explicitly shown in that film to throw stormtroopers 15 feet. But he's just like, ah!
And then what else? In his shirtless scene in The Last Jedi, we don't see any scars or anything.
I think technically his pants are pulled up high enough to cover it.
Oh, really?
His pants are pulled up really high.
He wanted to show the masculine beauty.
The bigger thing... I think the bigger thing is that his scar moves places.
Yeah.
His face scar.
Right, that's the weird one.
Because in Force Awakens, Rey hits his face with a lightsaber, and it just makes a scar instead of chopping his skull in half. Yeah. And it's running up from his cheek over his nose and up the middle of his forehead. Mm-hmm. And in Last Jedi, it's just a little cut over his right eye.
I want to give faith to Star Wars make props and makeup people.
Well,
because they're always pretty cool.
You still can. It was Rian Johnson who made the express decision to change the location of the scar. He said it looked dumb, and he wanted it to be in a different spot because it looks cooler over his eye. That's what he literally said. He did that. After people pointed it out in the trailer and said the scar moved, and he said, no, it didn't. The scar didn't move. The scar didn't move. And then people were like, dude, it literally moved. You can see it. And he was like, okay, yeah, I made the decision to change it. Don't know what went through his head there. Don't know what he thought was going to happen.
Small man.
He functions like a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like from these images, it's
more
on the bottom of his face. It still goes over the
down
eyes.
His
it goes up onto the middle of his forehead.
And then in the other one,
and then in the other one, it's just over his eye.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it kind of goes up.
That is very clearly not the same spot, man.
It's not the same curve.
Because it's the curve's different, and also like
and it goes up.
His cheek is torn up.
Yeah, and this very, very clearly goes up the middle of his forehead, and this it's just like over his eye. It's like, okay, guys, all right.
He reminds me a little bit of what's the comedian from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the older comedian. What's that actor's name?
Gene Wilder?
Yeah, he looks like Gene Wilder.
As in Willy Wonka himself?
Yeah.
You should have said that.
Just say yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
How does he look like Gene Wilder?
Looks like Gene Wilder to me.
I don't... Cut that. Okay, so... they have a little chat on a log, and Luke is like, what are you doing here? And Rey's like, I'm just doing what you did. And he says, but what I did was dumb. And again, it's sure, could be reaffirming the non-arc he had, or it could be damage control. And then...
It's a bit of both, but it does work for me.
And then you have him saying, yeah, you are a Palpatine. Leia knew it too. And it's like, whoa, hold the phone. Leia knew that? You guys all knew that? How did you know that?
Don't try to be like, oh yeah.
When?
And Obi-Wan knew. Like, because that was kind of cool, but like...
It is that. It's the from a certain point of view thing.
Right.
I don't like that. It's dumb. Leia's not like that. Leia wouldn't do that. At least the Leia that we know and love.
I don't get it. It's when did they find out? Why did they train her? What? Tell her. Luke, of all people, would advocate for telling her that she's a Palpatine.
Because he knows how this works.
Because he knows how this works. At the end of Empire Strikes Back, he's just huddling on the Falcon going, Ben, why didn't you tell me? He would absolutely tell Rey. Yeah. When did you find out about this? When you died? Did he Force Ghost and then find this out and go, crap. Oops. Why hasn't he appeared to Rey since then? Is he tied to this island? That would suck.
Yeah. Oof.
Oh, he's clearly not, because he shows up at the end on Tatooine. So why hasn't he shown up to guide her? What? We could have had a scene that when she's training, Leia could have been standing there training Rey with Luke as a ghost also there. Right next to Leia.
Yeah. That'd have been dope.
Would have made sense, because he could have trained her, with the more mental powers.
Oh, except that she couldn't commune with the spirits of dead Jedi was the struggle she was having. She was like, I can't speak to them.
Yeah, no.
And that's necessarily all we get.
No,
and do we know if that's Force Ghosts or the ones that didn't become Force Ghosts? No one should have trouble communing with a Force Ghost.
Because
really,
from what I
unless
understand,
you're very underpowered.
The Force Ghosts are the ones that come to you.
Yeah, the way I understand it is that, the Force Ghost chooses to appear to you, and they become more... It is easier to see them and hear them the more powerful in the Force you are, because after Obi-Wan dies in A New Hope, he's just a voice to Luke, and he's only able to say one sentences. He's like run, Luke, and use the Force, Luke. And then in Empire, he appears as a very faded, ghostly apparition, telling him to go to Dagobah. And in Return of the Jedi, he's a fully not see almost completely opaque figure that sits on a log and chats with him. So it may not even be intentional. Could have just been a change in style. But
I mean,
the
Empire,
way it
he's
shows
on
in the film is but he's still he's still fairly see-through. Even yes, he at the beginning of the movie he's a ghostly apparition, and then on Dagobah he's more opaque, but he's still very definitely see-through. And then in Return of the Jedi, he's like completely opaque. He's just glowy blue.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's probably all, like, literally all. It's probably just like
it could just be style, but that's the way it shows in the movie.
I figured it was all like style or technology. Just like, we can now make.
But it's a neat little detail you can draw from it. And then Rey just can't commune with dead Jedi. I mean, does she? And again, is that ghosts or like the Jedi that didn't become ghosts? Because I don't think you can commune with the dead Jedi that didn't become ghosts, except you can at the end of this movie when they're all like, Rey, stand up. Get up. Please. So.
Whatever, bro. Whatever.
And then Luke reveals he did train Leia in the Force to be a Jedi, despite Rian Johnson saying that never happened, which is fine with me.
Yeah.
Because it totally would have happened, and it makes no sense that it wouldn't have happened. And we get a flashback of them having lightsaber training, which then it's like, wait, so you only got so far as lightsaber sparring with each other? How is Leia teaching Rey? Rey is stupidly powerful. And then Leia beats Luke's ass into the ground again, once again.
Really weird
Luke
scene.
cannot beat anyone ever again for some reason. Not even that big a deal, but it's just like another instance of someone who should be less good than him, beating him in a fight.
Wasn't it in that moment, though, she had a vision of, like, her son and her would die or
So
something?
you would think Luke would beat Leia then, if she's distracted by a vision. But no, she knocks him onto his butt and then stands there like...
What do you think of the CG for their faces?
I thought it was okay.
Really? It kind of threw me out.
I mean, it wasn't good, but
it might have been the lighting, but it just looked really weird to me.
Leia's looked weird.
Yeah.
But I thought Luke looked okay.
Luke's was better than Leia's.
I think the shot lingered on her for much longer than it did.
It did.
For Luke, yeah.
And it was a brighter light. Because her lightsaber's right next to her face.
I don't know why they aren't using... And maybe they did, but it sucked. But, like, why they didn't use... what modern, like, what people are doing for, like, AI face recreations, where you have an AI go through... Deepfakes. Why aren't you using deepfakes?
I don't know.
You have so much footage of Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher. You can do so many deepfakes, and deepfakes look amazing.
They do.
Why aren't you using deepfakes?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do it!
So then we get that, and Luke's like, she had a vision of Ben turning to the dark side, so we stopped training. But what he says is, if she completed her journey as a Jedi, Ben would turn to the dark side, was the vision she had. So she stops her training. Ben still turns to the dark side. And then Luke then says, and now Leia has been waiting for someone else to complete that journey for her. Like, wait a second, so she stopped her journey because if her journey is completed, Kylo turns to the dark side. He does anyways, and now she wants someone to complete her journey, so he turns to the dark side. Like, just the wording is off. And then he's like, by the way, I have something to show you. And, you know, the audience probably thinks she's gonna be giving Luke's green saber now, further stealing his legacy. But no, that just doesn't show up. Leia's saber has apparently been here this whole time. Don't know why he took it with him. Why Leia
Luke's like, I'm gonna steal that, Leia.
Don't know why Leia...
When I go maroon myself.
Why didn't she keep that?
Yeah.
And he's like, she would have wanted you to have it. I'm like, she would have, and that's dumb. This Leia would have wanted this Rey to have this, which is stupid.
Knowing that she was a Palpatine.
No, yeah, knowing that...
I hope you kill everyone with my lightsaber.
So, then... he's like, you need to get out of here. You have to face Palpatine. But it's not like, you know, the Yoda
it is
and
your
Obi-Wan
destiny.
thing. It's more... He's like, yeah, you go kill Palpy. Go kill Palpy. It's like...
Let's do it, come on. You can do it. Go on. We know you're a Mary Sue.
And then... she's like, oh, I can't get off though. I have no way there. And then he's like, you have everything you need, which is bogus. And then she just climbs into the burning wreckage of Kylo Ren's TIE fighter and grabs the holocron wayfinder that's still in there, that's fine, And she's fine. She doesn't get burned by this. And she just takes it, and it's not hot or anything. And,
that thing is unharmed.
And then Luke lifts his X-Wing out of the water, and I will say, as impossible as it obviously is for the Star Wars universe and breaking canon and everything, it was a nice moment, especially with Mark Hamill's acting,
Dude.
like almost entirely because of it. The way he was closing his eyes, and I don't know if you saw the shape of his hand.
Yeah.
He was like mimicking Yoda, the Yoda puppet from Empire Strikes Back perfectly, and I was like, respect, buddy. That's Mark. That is all Mark, and I love him for that.
He's great. And also the motif, soundtrack-wise,
the Yoda theme came
Yoda.
back.
Yeah, which is nice. Little
And then he... personally, I think maybe it might have been... it's clearly a callback, but it might have been more, like,
should have had
appropriate to have Luke's theme play. I don't know. And then he gives a nice smile, and that's the last we see of him until the very end. And I think it's a significantly better send-off than Last Jedi.
Totally.
I still think we should never have seen any of the OT heroes die in the movies. I don't think there should ever be a story where we see them die. I just think that shouldn't happen. They have
it's really earned.
They have
death.
earned long lives.
If the
from their struggle in the OT.
If the screenwriting is good enough that it could pull it off.
I still don't think we should ever see them die. That's not what George Lucas wanted. He explicitly didn't want to kill anyone off. Because it's a fairy tale, and you're supposed to be left feeling happy by the end of it. Yeah. And it's hard to do that if you kill off a character. And also, I completely disagree with the idea that killing a character off is good writing. I think it is better writing to be able to keep tension and stakes and write a good story without killing anyone. I think that's significantly better writing. Killing someone off, while not lazy, is just it's kind of the go-to option to keep tension as opposed to doing it in a more clever way.
Mm. It depends on the emotional journey you want to take your audience on, too, because, spoilers, I don't know if I should share this.
For what?
Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Go for it. At the end of Planet of the Apes, Caesar dies. And
I thought that was stupid.
But no, they still kept tension throughout the film without killing him, and
I get that they're going for a
conclusion to the emotional arc.
No, not even that. Yes, that, but also, so that trilogy of films is Caesar birth, Caesar death. It's a life. The trilogy is about Caesar's life.
And that's a specific journey you wanted to take your audience.
Yeah, you wanted to take him on.
The reason I think it's dumb is because he gets hit with an arrow when they're in the snow place, and then they travel all the way to a desert place, and then he falls over dead from an arrow.
Infection is a thing that kills.
They're really smart. Why didn't they at least... There's no bandage, as far as I remember.
I think he, broke it off when he was climbing away or something, and then he
the third one's the worst, I think we can agree.
No, the first one's bad.
First one's bad, yeah.
The third one
was
second and third one are more consistent in terms of tone and vision, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like the third one better than the first one.
I just think everything with Woody Harrelson is nonsense. It's terrible.
Just every film ever with Woody.
No.
Well,
Solo wasn't good. Solo wasn't good.
Solo was good. Hunger Games had their moments.
Wait, he's in Hunger Games?
Yeah.
Right. Doy.
He's
yeah.
And then he's also in Zombieland. Lol.
Hunger Games movies aren't really good.
No, I just said they have their moments.
Yeah.
Catching Fire is good. I think that's a good movie.
I didn't like that movie.
Really?
I think we've talked about this.
that was the best one in the series.
I didn't like it.
I would rate it as 2, 1, 3, 4, probably.
I like
that's only because I haven't seen the fourth one. Because it's not the third one, and I was like, wow, this is as bad as I expected it to be. I hate this book. I'm not seeing the fourth one.
I've seen the fourth one, at least I think I have. I've forgotten totally.
I think I have too.
There's some gray goo that flooded a town square, and that's all I remember.
Oh yeah, I remember there are miniguns and walls, and they're going through the booby traps of the whatever.
Yeah, that's 4.
It was way better in my imagination. Way better in my imagination.
But the book's terrible.
Anyways, rabbit trail aside, if a character's death is planned from the beginning, or that's like the...
Well, yeah, it can be good. Mm-hmm. I just think it is better writing to make it to not kill anyone.
It's a testament to have a very intense film without killing someone. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the formula.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. That's one formula you could use.
So then, also his X-wing, I believe, is technically the wrong model of X-wing in this scene, and also, as shown in Last Jedi and is written in the visual dictionary for that movie, the door to Luke's hut is the wing of his X-wing that he tore off to use as a door. But nope, his X-wing's fine in this.
That's kind of awkward.
So then Rey
reads the books anyway.
Rey jumps in the X-wing and flies to Exegol on her own.
Also, maybe Luke used holocrons in his X-wing. I don't know, but he's got the USB port.
Yeah, it can just plug in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And there's this shot where she's wearing Luke's old rebellion helmet, and I audibly said in the theater, "Fuck off." I just like a gut reaction.
I heard you say that, actually. You said it pretty loudly.
I hated it so much.
Yep.
It's like, come on! This is Luke!
She did not wear that well.
Stop it was too big on her.
Oh.
Stop taking this stuff away from her OT heroes and giving them to these crap characters who haven't earned them.
One of the reasons the sequels don't disrespect the originals is because they don't do shit like this.
The prequels.
The prequels don't do this. Stuff.
No, absolutely.
That's one of the reasons it's not disrespectful to the originals.
Prequels are actually really respectful to the originals. They only hurt the original continuity in like 3 instances, and they're fairly minor. There's like the fact that, like, when Yoda says, and Luke to Tatooine to his family sent him to hide the baby Luke, and it's like, no, that's a terrible idea, Yoda.
Yoda, you dummy.
That's a really bad idea. Just making the Larses be related to the Skywalkers is kind of hurts the canon, and
a little bit. Yeah.
Having Anakin even come from Tatooine, I think, hurts the canon.
I think these are in very minor ways.
They're fairly minor.
And Obi-Wan lives on Tatooine to protect Luke as well.
Yes.
Which
I
could
like
be
that
a precaution.
I like that one.
Yeah, that explains maybe why he's there. They sent him to Tatooine, kind of risky.
Especially because I think, weirdly enough, in A New Hope, there's actually some hints. It's not clear, but you can read it as Luke actually has met old Ben. They've, chatted a few times. Because they seem fairly familiar with each other.
Yeah, so.
And when, he hears about Ben Kenobi, he's like, oh, old Ben?
Yeah.
Old Ben? Is that who you're talking about? And I think, Owen Lars is like, I told you to stay away from that old wizard or something like that. So I can believe that, Ben actually, chatted with Luke a few times and, stay out of Mos Eisley. Wretched Hive. Keep away from
scum, villainy, all that.
And 3PO being made by Anakin is weird.
Yeah.
R2 and 3PO being in the prequel trilogy is weird.
It's weird but also it's not done well either. Most of their scenes together are pretty bad.
It's more that it's just not done very well. Mm-hmm. That's the bigger problem. But honestly,
it's done,
and it's
done even worse.
There being only 20 years in between the prequels and the originals is kind of awkward, considering how much older Obi-Wan is and how old Anakin looks in the originals, and he's only what is he? It's 50.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan and Anakin are 50 and 60 or something in the originals.
Yeah.
It's a bit hard to believe.
Time don't check out much.
But yeah, for the most part, the prequels don't hurt the continuity of the originals in any way.
And they don't disrespect it. They're not like, oh, by the way, Anakin's lightsaber is just a stupid thing he found in like a little... he pulled it out of a slug or something. He was like, oh, a lightsaber.
Owen and Beru are actually criminals or something. Like, nothing like that.
Yeah. Anakin didn't have any training. He was just a Jedi.
Yeah, he was just born this way.
Yeah, it was George Lucas's vision, and he respects his own vision, obviously. So then we go back to the Resistance base, and they're checking out some... So here's where the weird stuff with Dio happens that we don't remember clearly enough.
He gives them some specs or something.
He gives them something to help them in the fight, possibly some way to Exegol.
Basically another MacGuffin.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
They're like, oh man, you have that in your... memory banks? Cool.
Well, on top of that, Rey is able to drop tracking things.
Yes, they're like, what? We're getting info from Luke. What? Oh no. And then like Finn's like, it's Rey in his X-Wing. She's dropping beacons to lead us to Exegol. Like, wow, that's convenient.
Very.
X-Wings have... First of all, beacons? X-Wings have beacons?
I don't know.
What in
it's
the world?
Believable, but
it's definitely something you can nitpick, but it's not a big problem.
And then...
It's whatever.
Oh, we also missed the line way in the beginning of the movie where they get the info, the first order info, and then they're like, he has a fleet of thousands of ships, and every single one has this super weapon on them. And it's like, wow, that's an assumption you made.
Yeah.
Nice job, guys.
Like,
they're like, he has thousands of these, and they're all like that. And like, are you sure?
Whoa.
Maybe it's just the one, guys.
Palpy's got about as much control about his, Endo universe plans as Disney had on their screenplay for this film.
And so...
It's been all leaked.
And, and when Finn, Poe, and Chewie, and 3PO too? Whatever. When they get back to the Resistance base, someone's like, Leia's dead, and Chewie screams in anguish, and it was probably the only moment in the movie that could possibly bring a tear to your eye.
Mm-hmm. It's a good
unless
moment.
you're a Reylo and you are obsessed with Rey and Kylo for some reason. Sorry, I meant to say Kylo, not Rey. They usually don't give a shit about Rey. They just care about Kylo.
It's like the Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, no, it's the
trend.
Benedict Cumberbatch fans. It's the same thing. He
has a weird face
absolutely obsessed over some dude with a weird face, and they want him to. They want to have his babies, and they want him to have babies with the female character, and they don't care about anything else. It's so weird.
Well, that's a good moment in the film where Chewie's crying.
And then R2 is also sad, and then we have that awful smash cut joke with R2 and 3PO restoring his memory, and then it's just fine. He's fine. No big deal.
Hey, he turns out the best of anyone in the series because he had all his memories wiped of the previous two films.
Well, but
right?
then I can't.
but isn't it restored? Is R2 restored?
Was it completely restored?
I don't remember when it was restored from. He clearly... No, it's from right before he was about to go on the mission. Because R2 restores the memory and he's like, R2, I'm about to go on a mission with Finn, Poe, and Rey.
That's right.
And then R2's like, you already went on the mission. He's like, what? And then we just cut. It's like, okay.
I thought he forgot all the
he lost,
mess.
Nothing
That's
important.
That's too bad.
It was worthless. He lost 2 hours.
Nice. That's true.
So...
let's keep in mind they never mentioned that countdown really during this act.
No, not at all.
It's like, we don't have much time
They completely forgot about the countdown, I think. There's some bit where Palpatine is talking to General Pride and he's like, bring the First Order to Exegol, join forces with me. It's like, okay.
Which
is
again, Palpatine, you control the galaxy. You control the First Order and they control the galaxy. What are you doing?
Why do you need more ships? You're doing pretty well. You're doing pretty well.
You're doing...
When does he say final order?
I think it's when he's Palpatine's got a hologram.
Because he's like, and we shall form the final order. And it's like, jeez.
And then General Pride's eyes glaze over and he's like, I will fight with you like I did in the first war.
It's like, okay.
Alright, bro.
Final order.
Whatever.
What a dumb
What a bunch
name.
of dumb
I thought
stuff
First
all at
Order
once.
was stupid.
Yeah. Oh.
And somewhere in
and
here...
the Red
First
Troopers?
Order, copycats of the Empire. So really they're the Second Order. And then the final.
I was at McDonald's today or the other day, and I saw this kid with like the red helmet, a red mask that came in a Happy Meal.
The Sith Troopers.
The Sith Troopers, which I hate now that if you look up Sith Troopers, it brings up those guys instead of the old
ones.
Republic Sith Troopers that are supposed to come up. That look way better. That aren't just Stormtroopers painted red.
And I saw, and he was like so happy, and I'm like, oh, you're gonna have nostalgia for these things that are terrible and disrespectful to the originals.
Those red Stormtroopers are barely in the movie. They're like in two shots.
They spawn. Don't they like spawn at like the final battle or something?
And they're just like, they're marketed like crazy for this movie.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're just, it's like 2 shots. What a waste.
I bet they're red for, there's some like, subconscious thing that kids think when they see a red toy. It's like,
I want to buy that. The new Final Order Star Destroopers. Wow, I almost said Star Destroopers. The new Final Order Star Destroyers that have penis cannons
oh boy,
have like red trim painted all over them, and it looks terrible.
Yeah.
Oh.
It looks really bad.
It's a veiny dick.
It's like no, not the cannon.
Oh, okay, good. I was like, what?
Yeah, I mean, it might, but I meant the Star Destroyer.
Okay.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
the
I'm like, what?
the whole
I missed that.
the whole pizza shape is outlined in red trim, and it's like, it looks terrible.
No.
You're messing with the amazing iconography of Star Destroyers.
You're just like adding.
The least you can do is
You're-
not ruin it.
You're literally just
Back
adding
in,
LEDs.
In Republic times, different Republic Star Destroyer ships
The
had-
Venators. The Venators
Venator
had a big
class
red
had different
stripe
stripes,
down the middle.
But it made sense because it was like per like unit of troops or whatever.
per company.
Yeah.
The colors,
I think they were all the same. I think they all just had the one
the
red stripe.
The red thing in the
But-
middle was pretty.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the red stripe works better than the red trim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were also different colors. The red stripe is like a deep dark red,
It's like more of a maroon.
and the new red on these Star Destroyers was really bright red.
really bright. And the armor too.
It
it
just looks so bad. It was brighter than the armor.
Yeah.
It
Um,
looks
And
bad.
they're not even like fancy enough to be called like a ceremonial armor.
No.
Like the blue guys in on Coruscant or
Why are they Sith troopers? What is that? Also, I remember when they were first revealed, there's this weirdo on Twitter who was like jerking off over their design. He was like, these new Sith troopers are the most menacing and beautiful creations I've ever seen. And I'm like, buddy, the red stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Get over it. Wow. Chill much?
Not
Disney
even that.
chill much?
It's like you changed your armor design for the First Order, but now you're just copying the First Order for the Final Order. Like, they didn't even bother to like go back to the original armor or anything.
Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, he's using original Star Destroyers from the original trilogy, but his stormtroopers are just First Order stormtroopers with a nose bit added to their visor.
It's also, I don't know when this takes place in the film, but while we're on this note, there's a random scene where one of these Star Destroyers blows up a planet, and that's it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I remember
There's this
when
bit
that
where,
happened.
where General Pride is just randomly like, make them hurt, make them. He literally says like, blow up some place they've been, so they know we're serious. So they blow up Kajimi.
yeah.
And then somehow Zoid
and
Bliss pops up in the end.
It looks so bad, the explosion.
It's
it looks like a
terrible.
piece of popcorn blowing up. Because, like, they shoot some bit on the side of the planet, and so it slowly blows up from there, like, a little explosion, little explosion, little explosion. And then the whole thing just pops. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, like dang.
And that's it.
Okay. Also, So
wasn't Zori Bliss on that planet?
Zori Bliss was on that planet, and she comes back in the end, despite explicitly saying she had no way off the planet and giving her one way off the planet to Poe. You're writing problems into your own script.
So you can have plot devices
and then
to drive a plot that's full of problems.
And then the fact that they were able to blow up the planet, one of the problems that the final order isn't able to go and invade the galaxy is because they need the broadcasting tower to lead them out.
How did they get off?
And then you have this one guy that's just
I guess because it was active the whole time, so I guess they just sent one out early.
Why didn't you just send them everywhere?
I know, why are you waiting 16
What kind
hours?
of a military tech?
It would have been a little smarter to send out a broadcast saying coming in 16 hours and then come in 12.
Yeah.
It still would have been dumb, but
it's like a little troll move.
It would have been a little Palpy troll, yeah. But no, he just sends out one to blow up one measly planet.
What?
They had stormtroopers on it the last time we saw.
And also, it's not like you're saying, this is a test, like Tarkin. He's not testing this weapon out.
Mm-hmm.
He's just blowing it up for no reason.
And
also, wow. They have compressed a Death Star-sized weapon. That entire station was made that big to house that weapon. Mm-hmm. It had to be that large for the weapon. And they have compressed it to the size of a cannon on a Star Destroyer.
And mass-produced it.
Mass-produced
it. Mass-produced it. They're thousands.
How?
And he built them inside a planet.
And who did that? Why? When? How'd you do it?
It's not recalled.
None of this is even attempted to be explained.
It's not even like they were like, oh, he recalled his units from the First Empire to help him.
No.
It's just this is a whole new army, guys.
And we have these new soldiers all in them, and they have new outfits with red trim on them.
Yeah, sure. He took time to make all that armor too. Even that's a piece.
Yeah, he had time to design the armor.
It's like, you know what? This time the armor's going to be red.
Because red's always been my color.
No. Put the trim on that ship. I like it better with that. That looks really
cool. So that when I EMP them, they'll have a cool blue-red effect.
So then the resistance is like, okay, last chance. If no one fights, we're done. Let's go to Exegol. There's some dumb, cheesy, inspiring quote unquote line that they bring back later too. I don't even remember what it is, but it's something about how if no one fights, then I think it's Poe repeating what Zori told him. It's something like if we don't fight, who will, or something. I don't know. It was something generic. And then Poe's giving this big speech
over a montage that unfortunately passes over some interesting because in the montage while he's speaking, right? There's a shot of Lando and Chewie and the Falcon. There's some other shots. There's 3PO and R2. Yeah. Lando's looking around. It's really short. So when they're all running around prepping their ships and stuff.
Yeah.
While
and
he's
giving them a big speech to get ready to go. And he's general now because Leia's dead and he's apparently next in line. And then but also because he sucks according to the writers of these movies. He's like, Finn, I can't be general alone. I need you too. It's according to these movies,
what?
Finn is a janitor.
You need a general for one battle?
According to the books, he was part of an elite squad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
He was the top of his class. And he was an amazing stormtrooper in an elite squad.
Well,
and technically, yes, he was also a janitor.
Sanitation?
Because every stormtrooper has to pull shift in sanitation, is what the books say.
I like that.
But in the movie, he's just funny janitor man.
So he's a top of the line stormtrooper, and he's never been in a fight? How do we know he's top of the line when his first fight?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
He was just good in training.
I guess.
The first time I'm supposed to kill a person, he's like, oh no.
No. I don't want to do that. No, thank you.
Break my training.
No!
I'm the best at whatever.
So then they're like, all right, let's go to Exegol. So they start going to Exegol. And wait, whoa, we completely skipped over the Kylo Ren and Han scene. Completely skipped that.
Mm-hmm.
So Rey flies off, and Kylo... So, you think for a moment that the writers are dumb enough to have Han Solo be a Force ghost, but then it's like, no, you're just a memory, he says. So what happens in this scene is Kylo imagines his dad forgiving him for killing him and redeems himself.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and he even like denies the fact that he's doing it. He's like, you're just a memory. Well, if it's your memory, then you're the one making it appear right in front of yourself.
It's like, thanks for forgiving me, imaginary dad.
Oh.
Okay, I'm gonna be a Goodman now. I'm gonna be a Goodman. And then he throws his lightsaber.
Okay.
Which... okay, listen, Kylo. I know you're being all, like, powerful, melodramatic moment. Your symbolism of throwing away your lightsaber because they're representing you. That's a good weapon, though. You kind of still need it.
Yeah, like, go throw away, like...
you literally
Go throw away your helmet!
Yeah, you go to... Yeah, that would.
What you don't have with you?
He doesn't even have with him.
No.
Where is that? Is that back in the Death Star?
How come he never wore it?
Where is it?
No, because...
Did he drop it in the throne room?
Because he remade the helmet and all that stuff, and...
I feel like he never wears it.
Yeah, but like, did he have it on when he meets her in the Death Star, and then he drop it?
No, I don't think so.
Is it in his ship? Did Rey burn it? What happened?
Would have been cool if he had like changed out the kyber crystal in his lightsaber.
Sure.
Yeah, but he'd have to get one, which is supposed to be like a whole thing.
Yeah, that's true.
No, they just sell them at every corner drugstore now.
And also, they would just make it be the same lightsaber but blue, like it would be the blue with the crossguard.
Would you expect?
Would have been cool.
Well, because those vents are there because his lightsaber, his crystal is unstable, so it needs to vent excess heat.
If they were gonna make it like someone was continuing Leia's journey, would have been cool if okay, this is my setting up a plot. We can cut this out if you need to. But like, say Kylo Ren goes back on the Falcon, right? He's back at the base. X-Wing doesn't have these like weird beacon things, so Rey has to come back too. And then she gives Kylo Leia's lightsaber. Luke gives it to her so she can give it to him. And then he switches out the crystal.
Together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would've been something.
Would've been a little better.
But no, he throws the saber.
He throws it, he chucks it.
Later he explicitly is in trouble in a fight because he has no weapon.
Yeah,
he also takes off what is apparently some form of armor, because when he shows up at the end, it's just in like a black tunic. It looks like Adam Driver walked in wearing sweatpants and a black sweater, and they just filmed him.
Yeah.
It cracked me up.
I'm surprised they edited out the Adidas stripe. Like,
I wanted to laugh. It looked so funny. It didn't look cool in any way.
No. Well, also they played him for a lot of jokes too in that scene.
Yeah, okay, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. I will say, one minor compliment I have, I like the writing a little bit in the Han Solo scene.
Yeah, it's like
the dialogue
fine,
was fine.
It's mirroring the bridge scene from Force Awakens,
and
it just
and
meaningless
Empire
because it's his memory.
Yeah, no,
it's just imagining it.
It's an imagination.
So it's just a worthless scene.
He's imaginary friending his dad. Like,
it's like, well,
this isn't a good or compelling.
This is Chris Terrio's favorite trick.
Because he does it in Batman vs. Superman. Superman flies up on a mountain.
Flies to a random mountain and imagines his dad there.
Throwing rocks.
Piling rock. Why is he piling rocks? What was the purpose of that scene?
For him to...
What a bad movie!
And you thought that was the worst movie of all time until you saw Last Jedi.
Yeah.
So it's up there. It's definitely
We're gonna, once we finish the run through of this, just don't say anything now, but think about it. I'm gonna ask if this movie is worse than Last Jedi. So we're gonna continue. So they're all lifting off to go to Exegol, and there's like literally like 8 ships.
There's like the Tantive 4, the Falcon.
Yeah, that's another thing. Why do they have that ship again? I know you're saying it's just the mod. Like, you would think it's just another one of those Corvettes, but like I believe according to the original dictionary, it's literally the same ship.
How did they get that?
How did they get it back?
The Empire took it.
The Empire took it. They probably scuttled it.
Yeah, like come on.
It's like this belongs to the rebel
cheap
scum.
Nostalgia that most people will miss.
I'm like, they missed an opportunity to make a new Lego set to sell a new toy. You missed an opportunity. I'm surprised, Disney.
Also, there are B-Wings and Y-Wings again.
Yep.
They're just here now. Even though they should have had them already. So I'm glad they do now, but it's weird that they suddenly do. And the Visual Dictionary tries to explain this as there's a...
stop trying to explain stuff in books.
There's a manufacturing company that makes bombers that is running a nostalgic rerun of the Y-Wings, branding it as the ship that brought down the Empire. Even though...
What? That's how military companies work! They don't do, but they don't do Ship of the Year edition. They don't do...
And it's like... Also, it's kind of the Falcon that brought down the Empire.
Yeah!
And X-Wings.
And, B-Wings, no.
Like, Y-Wings and B-Wings, great. But Y-Wings were not the reason the Empire fell.
Maybe if it was part of a re-release collection, if it's part of a re-release collection, I can see that. But this is a military company.
In the originals, or
in Return of the Jedi, I
don't think when the B-Wings and Y-Wings really do anything in the originals.
It was an A-Wing that blew up
the Executor. And X-Wings that blow up each Death Star. The Falcon blows up the second Death Star, I think, in tandem with Wedge's X-Wing.
They're both shooting stuff. Also, Wedge shows up in this film, but we'll get to that too. He gets one shot.
So, yeah, there's about 8 Resistance ships. And they all fly on to take thousands of Star Destroyers on in open combat.
And no one's depressed or anything because, Poe
gave
him a good speech.
Let's do this! They've all devolved into all Finn is allowed to do. The other thing Finn is allowed to do, which is a whoop when he kills a stormtrooper. Woo! Those are his 2 lines in this entire trilogy, Woo and Rey.
Apparently he loves cheering on the death of his fellow stormtroopers because he loved that in the opening of Force Awakens.
Why can't this trilogy, acknowledge that he's an ex-stormtrooper? Maybe have him be hesitant to kill stormtroopers? Maybe have him lead a stormtrooper rebellion? Oh, that's how you could have taken down the First Order?
That would have been so cool.
Even with your broken premise, you could have done something with this trilogy. But you didn't even do that. No. And so then... they're all just suddenly at Exegol. Also, Lando was like, I'm gonna go rally the entire galaxy to help us, by the way. And they're like, cool, do that.
Yeah,
do it, Lando.
So he disappears.
You've been chilling on a desert for the past 30 years. You definitely have a lot of connections.
Takes the Falcon with him.
Lots of networking.
To be fair, according to this movie, he might not have been there.
He might not have been there.
He might have just showed up.
Fair
he could have still been running Cloud City or
I keep forgetting the leaks.
Although, I bet you the Visual Dictionary says no. And so he takes the Falcon, even though it's a great ship, would be helpful in the fight.
Great in the fight.
Give him a quad jumper with no blasters.
Because you need blasters. You actually you need them.
Yeah.
For your fight.
If you have a ship with blasters, take it to the fight. Give him a ship that doesn't, and let him use that. Mm-hmm. So he goes. Does he take Chewie with him?
He does, yeah, because Chewie's on at the end, I think.
Okay.
He should have had Nen Num,
that's fine,
the little dude from Return of the
Jedi. He's also there. Also, the most nightmarish Mon Calamari ever is in this movie.
Yeah!
Who is apparently Akbar's son that just exists now.
He looks worse than
he
Clone
looks
Wars.
horrible.
It's like if you cut and
he's
pasted
just like,
Clone Wars.
He's like, his voice is horrible too. It was terrifying. Why would you design a Mon Calamari to look that way?
I thought, Mon Calamari had evolved past, incest. Why is he like this? Sheebus.
So, they all are just, suddenly at Exegol. Because hyperspace travel takes
Because
and they went
through the red jello.
They go through the red jello, even though there's no reason to go through the red jello. You can just go around it.
And there's no reason the red jello would stop you from going through hyperspace. I mean,
yeah, probably not.
If it's actually jello, it's just like misty stuff.
Yeah. They just stop before it, go through it, and then go. And then they go into the planet. Wait, don't they? Oh yeah, they hyperspace to the red jello, fly through the red jello, and then hyperspace into the planet's atmosphere.
What?
That's what happens, isn't it?
Yeah, that's probably
something like that. Yeah,
because don't they just jump into the planet's atmosphere
to get in close?
Yeah,
which is something else I've heard.
No, you can't do that. Force Awakens, even Force Awakens, even though it is impossible to jump into a planet's atmosphere, Force Awakens even made it so, okay, Han does it to Starkiller Base, but it's was super lucky. Crazy lucky they pulled that maneuver off. But no, they just do it.
Speaking of maneuvers, my boy Pippin is like, hey, let's use
the
Holdo maneuver.
Why don't we pull out some Holdo maneuvers, do some real damage? And then Finn's like, nah, that's 1 in a million. And then they just move on.
No, okay. A lot of things are wrong with that. First of all, it's not really 1 in a million.
How is it 1 in a million?
No.
Point and shoot.
Also, how does a Fronabon suicide run a maneuver now? It's like a patented maneuver that everyone's like, oh yeah,
let's all kill ourselves.
Holdo maneuver, TM. What?
And also if the Holdo maneuver is it actually is just you put it on autopilot, so no one actually has to die. Well, then why didn't you do that before the Holdo maneuver was called the Holdo maneuver?
Why is it 1 in a million? Is it because the chances of actually colliding with something in hyperspace, it's technically possible for hyperspace to just have a fluke and make you collide with something? So really, Holdo was taking a 1 in a million shot and got super lucky, or she was trying to actually retreat but Hux was scared when Holdo turned the Raddus towards the Supremacy. He was like, oh crap, she's gonna hyperspace ram us! And then she did.
And also, at no point did they was someone Holdo, that's a 1 in a million shot you're trying to make. It might be for nothing.
Yeah.
No one said that.
That would have been something.
That would have made dead attention.
Would have been something to explain it. But no, it's just somehow it's 1 in a million. We don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're not going to do any of those. Even though the end montage, we see a Star Destroyer that got hit by another Holdo maneuver.
Mm-hmm. The Ewoks are just
over Endor. And the Ewoks are just
yep.
Is that another Empire? They play that soundbite so much.
Return of the Jedi, it's copy and paste.
They copy and paste that sound 6 times in the course of a 2-minute scene.
We have a very limited sound library for the Ewoks.
It's a little too bad.
It is.
So then they're all all right, let's do this. Fight these Star Destroyers. And I think Poe at one point is awed that there's so many. Which, there's
what did you expect,
absolutely
dude? I thought you knew literally everything.
Amount.
Yeah.
There was 10,000 of them. And then I think General Pride is open all batteries, and then all the Star Destroyers shoot all their cannons at these 8 ships. And they don't all die immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Despite overlapping fields of fire from 10,000 ships on them.
It would legit be a wall of lasers.
They would be gone. And so now Rey is
here.
And she lands her X-Wing and goes under the
cube
of the Allspark.
The Allspark, yeah.
And she's somehow
feels like a Michael Bay film.
She just knows to go down there, and she goes down there.
You know what I love? I never see them enter this. You never get a shot of them entering the temple from the surface. It always cuts to them on that platform that's lowering.
Yeah, you don't get.
We don't see them step on it.
You don't get to see the lobby. At all.
Yeah.
There's never. I bet it looks really stupid.
Dude, I wonder.
How do they know where to go?
Who works the front desk for newcomers to point them in the right direction?
One of those chanting rogue guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are billions of them.
Yeah, so...
Also, they go underground. What's in the cube?
I know. I asked that.
I think we mentioned that earlier.
Early parts. It's like, what?
It's just a cube.
What's up there?
The cube is an open...
I want to know what's in there.
Is that the arena or something?
No.
I mean,
yeah, he opens the ceiling.
Because he opens the ceiling and the
no
cube's
cube
nowhere in sight.
You're right.
So they go down there, and then Ray...
No, I thought the cube was, like, the ceiling was where the cube was... No.
No, because the ceiling is the Earth. It's the surface of the planet.
Because they go underground.
So there's the cube floating above the surface, and they go underground, and then walk around, and then the surface opens, and there's no cube in sight. In fact, I don't think we even see the cube from any of the space battles or the atmosphere battle shots.
Especially because they're right over it, because we get a shot of him shooting his base boosted lightning out of it.
Yeah, and again, we also don't see any scarring on the planet's surface from the Star Destroyers being lifted out of it. Why would you do that? It would hurt. It would destroy all your Star Destroyers.
Yeah.
Ramming them into stone ceilings.
Yeah, right.
It's killing everyone.
What a dumb plan.
So Rey just makes her way into this large room that is very nebulous in size and is not clear how any of the geography works, where anything is. And there's this spikety throne, and then Palpatine appears on, like, being held up by this robotic arm.
That arm looks so bad.
He just starts talking to her. I don't even remember all of what he said. He has dumb lines.
And also I wonder what the, like, artistic crew was like. Like, oh, let's see, we have this arm to design. Let's just make it a big triangle thing that goes out of frame.
Yeah,
it just see how this thing...
It just goes out of frame. We don't know what this thing is on.
Why do you need a crane that big, bro?
Is
just
it
use,
like
one of those
attached
chairs
to
with
some
legs.
like rack running around the ceiling of the arena?
It's Gladys from Portal. Like,
is it hanging from the ceiling? What?
It's so impractical.
And
he's like, No, this is where we get the line from the trailer where he's like, long have I waited for my grandchild.
Right.
And then the Sith people in the stadiums are like,
yeah,
she's hot.
Good work, we get some shots of these people in these grandstands that are apparently in this huge room. Like, Rey walks in, you think it's like, this is like a decent sized room. Mm-hmm. This is like a grand hall in like a castle. No, this is like larger than the Geonosian arena. This is massive. Mm-hmm. And we get these panning shots that are really dark and blurry of thousands and thousands of randos chanting something I can't discern.
So, like, the arena is kind of like an amphitheater type design, almost. Mm-hmm. We're, like, there on the stage and everyone's looking at them. But they can't see the sky, right? Like, the people in the audience, would they be able to see through the skylight? Or is it
I don't know.
Weird?
I don't know how large the ceiling is. I don't know if the ceiling
how that
opens all the way.
works.
It's not clear.
They're all there for Palpatine's concert. Because later he drops the bass so hard. It's like quite a light show. He's got quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just this room seems to change size and shape all the time. And we add landmark features to it, such as a giant pit about 2 feet to the right of the frame.
Why?
Later.
Why pits?
We missed the dyad line.
Oh.
Back on Kijimi in the Star Destroyer, out of the blue, Kylo just says, Rey, we're part of a dyad in the Force. And Rey just doesn't react, and they just continue.
Yep.
And it feels like, so in the leaks, the dyad was supposed to be a big thing. Yeah. And then in the reshoot leaks, it said they cut it. Mm-hmm. I said that we'd cut it. Oh, British cut it. They cut it. And now it feels like
they forgot to cut it or something.
They tried to cut it and forgot 2 instances of it in the script.
The finale and the other one.
Yeah, so we're about to get to the next one.
Maybe they're like, well, Palpatine's lightning boost thing relies on the dyad.
Yeah,
so
I think that's
guess
what
we
happened.
Gotta keep it in.
There's a part in this that relies on the dyad, and they couldn't cut it out
you
of
could
this
just
scene.
say that Rey's so powerful.
I guess.
Uh,
So, yeah, there's that. That's completely unexplained. It baffles me because it's got to be so confusing to people who didn't read the leaks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Palpy's just monologuing. What happens? It's so boring.
he's
Yeah.
I mean, he's still pasty and he's got his
His
really bad makeup job. This is the point. Is this the point where he tells her she needs to kill him? So first he wanted her dead,
right.
and then she shows up.
Well, then he reveals now, he's like, I never sent Ochi to kill you. I sent him to take you to me. He's like, okay, why do we have that reveal? What's the point of that?
Ochi was literally like Palpatine's main man. It wasn't Darth Vader. It was Ochi.
Well,
Apparently,
I guess it's...
Unless this is post-Empire.
I think it's post-Empire.
Ochi looked like one of those dudes from the beginning of Into Darkness on like that stupid island.
Yeah.
Remember that? J.J. Abrams just like...
Well, yeah, Ochi looks disgusting.
He's a terrible...
Well, he looks like...
He looks like a dark
same
elf.
race as Maz Kanata.
Yeah.
Except even grosser somehow. It was such a weird flashback.
He's
and
not
we
in
get
much.
the flashback with the mom and dad and Ochi, and it's very brief and weird, and that's it.
Somewhere in the film. I don't even know if it's here. It might have been earlier.
Pretty sure it's here. I don't know. But film's loaded with flashbacks. Which, again...
Not a Star Wars
Not
thing.
a Star Wars thing. Star Wars was above using flashbacks to tell our story, because flashbacks are lame.
But no longer.
Yep,
So-
Ryan Johnson introduced them, so now they're everywhere.
Palpatine's like, you need to kill me. And
take my place as Empress Palpatine.
And because apparently all the Sith will flow into her.
Yeah, he straight up reveals his plan. He's like, kill me. All the Sith live in me, and they will go into you if you kill me. It's like, could have just told her, please don't kill me. I want my plan to succeed, and then she kills you, and then your plan that you were hiding from her works.
No,
Yeah, right.
no, wait. What
It's
plan,
not intelligent at all.
What planet that he's hiding? Which one?
No, so I'm saying...
That he's gonna like basically possess her when she kills
Yeah,
her.
so he straight up tells her, I want you to kill me so I can possess you.
Instead of saying kill me.
Instead, he should have said, like, no, please don't kill me. I want my plan to work. And she would believe the plan is just taking over the galaxy. So then she kills him, and then his secret plan that he doesn't tell her is that he possesses her works.
But it's just because the
But no,
audience
he's
needs
just-
to have it beaten on their heads that this is what happens. And then he opens up the sunroof. He's like, check this out.
Check this out.
See those 8 ships? Can you see them? They're very small, but that's your whole friend's fleet. They're all gonna die.
And yeah, we see, I think, more than 8 ships blow up, and there's still good guy ships.
Yep.
And I know for a fact they reuse some shots here. At some point in here, we reuse shots of like A-wings approaching Star Destroyers. And then Poe has this moment where he's really pathetic, and we get this overlapping chatter from the fleet, like, Poe, what do we do? Poe, we're dying! Poe, what do we do? And he's like, I'm sorry, I thought this would work. I don't know what to do, guys. I failed you. And
also in the midst of this battle, they're going to land on the planet to disable the antennae thing.
It's so difficult to dissect the scene because everything's happening at once. Yeah, so their plan... So...
They picked up Janna.
So they know somehow... Oh, yeah, so... this is what they got from Dio. The navigation tower, isn't it? Figure that out from Dio.
Yeah.
So they're like... So they literally say... The fleet doesn't know how to go up without a navigational tower.
What?
They don't know how to go in one of the 4 cardinal directions. So, break this down if anyone thinks this is just standard Empire dumbness. The Death Star had a 2-meter weakness in the entire surface of the moon-sized station. A 2-meter weakness. And theoretically, they might not even known it was there. And the second Death Star was protected by a shield generator that was hidden on a forest moon.
And guarded by a legion of my best troops.
And the only reason it was open for them to fly inside and blow up the core of the Death Star was because it was under construction.
But it could already fire, so
it could already fire because he was laying a trap, which the shield generator was a part of. The trap just backfired on him eventually. Now, in the case of this movie, we have a fleet of tens of thousands of Star Destroyers, and they can't go in one of the cardinal directions because their computers suck that bad.
You can build that many super weapons, but you can't figure out how to
fly straight.
Yeah, this is 30 years later, and we have capital ships that need a tower to tell them how to go up.
I mean, how did armies work?
It's the opposite of down.
That's really
They
quite
might not
sad.
have figured that
Have
one out
Palpatine.
yet.
Well, Palpatine lifted them up with the Force, so just push them up with the Force. You wrote that problem into your script.
So anyway, they picked up Jannah and her horses somehow.
So when they realized that
they must have flown off in the Falcon
okay,
with her and her horses.
So they're like, oh, there's a navigational tower that's, and if we blow that up, they can't escape the planet. But it's on the ground, so we're gonna have a ground team invade that tower. Even though, pretty clearly, you could just shoot at it.
Yeah.
Well, few well-placed proton bombs with the Y-wing.
Invade what? It's a tower. It's an unguarded tower.
Just blow it up.
Even if you
no, they're gonna have a ground team.
Troops on the ground, they can walk over and set charges. There's no attacking necessary.
Why do we have? Just shoot it. Why a ground team?
Something awesome
they're
about...
like, okay, we gotta use a ground team. And then Finn's like, I have an idea. And this is him, for some reason, coming up with the stupidest attack plan in all of Star Wars. We're gonna attack it with cavalry.
Attack a Star Destroyer with cavalry.
Well, he thinks they're attacking a ground tower with cavalry.
Yeah, at first. And how did they get the cavalry?
Because
they show some transport ships that picked up the horses. We don't see them pick up the horses, but we see them land the horses on the Star Destroyer. Because it's supposed to be a surprise when the horses come out.
But it's in all the trailers. It wasn't like the first trailer. Okay, you know what was awesome about Return of the Jedi is we had a ground and space battle going on at the same time. That made sense.
Yeah.
We had two different battles, and that was
sweet.
A great combo of
the way they cut it back and forth was really cool.
You could have done that here, but nope. There's just a tower sticking out of the planet.
Also, the music for that space battle is tight.
It's so good.
It's like, I don't think there's any piece in Star Wars that gets my blood pumping more than in the piece Into the Trap.
Yeah.
It is like dun 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 dun. It's so good. And with the whole Akbar saying it's a trap, and the different like the way they all
longer than we will against the Death Star.
Yeah, it's
like you guys are, well, they're screwed.
We gotta give Han more time.
You know what's cool about that? Why it feels tense is they're screwed because Palpatine is an intelligent guy who came up with a plan to screw them over. He didn't just have a billion Death Stars.
They're screwed in this movie because they have 8 ships against 10,000 Star Destroyers.
That's not intense. Like, that's stupid.
That's just this is dumb. It's just like, well, you guys are idiots.
Like,
absolutely, yeah.
And then Kylo shows up.
And it's such an awkward shot.
So first we get a shot of the X-Wing, and then Kylo pops into frame, looks at the X-Wing, and looks towards the Allspark. He's like, okay, and starts moving in that direction.
Stupid superhero music.
And he does get a theme. He gets it's his theme, the bomb, 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 bomb. Except it's in happy violin. So it's dun 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 dun. And that plays every single moment he's on screen for the rest of the movie. Because for some reason John Williams never wrote more than those few notes for him. His entire theme is bum 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 bum. That's his entire theme.
And I always thought that was just the First Order theme.
No,
it's not like a generic.
It's actually Kylo's.
That's
it's pretty clearly Kylo's.
That's really unfortunate.
And John Williams never resolved it. He never finished that theme. Rey has the only complete theme in this entire sequel trilogy.
Right.
The Resistance gets a theme. It's unresolved. It doesn't have a completion. It's dun 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 dun. It just like goes into some random nonsense. It doesn't have a completion.
And I always felt like Kylo's theme was kind of a lame copy of the original like Death Star motif.
Let's see,
which is
dun 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 dun.
Yeah, kind of like that. Just a couple notes.
Yeah, I can see that.
It felt a little similar, but
you guys are talking about things I have not thought about.
Sorry, Ian. We'll continue with the plot. Fair. We'll continue with the.
So then he runs in and he like blasts a few random guards that are here now and weren't there before Rey, and we don't know what they are. It's not clear.
He grabs a giant chain and he's like,
"Oh yeah, well yeah." First,
he jumps.
The elevator isn't there for some reason, so he jumps onto a giant chain that I've never noticed was in any scene before this.
Yeah, and it's right there.
It's massive. Yeah, and then he goes, "Ow." And we're supposed to laugh.
And then the Reylos are like, "Oh man, he's so buff and handsome."
Why did they make him into a comedy in his last few moments on screen?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Like,
ow.
He's been like your bad boy for like.
But now he's a Goodman, and Goodmans are funny.
Okay.
I guess
it's unfortunate.
And he pulls a Han Solo in Force Awakens and shoots one guy to his left, then turns his arm and shoots a guy to his right without looking, and then keeps running.
Han can do that because he's dope. You can do that because you have the
I thought it was so kind of stupid that Han did it. Although to be fair, what Han does in Force Awakens, he shoots a guy to his left, and then he shoots a guy to his right, and then he's like, "Oh, I hit somebody." And it's kind of like he had a senile moment where he just accidentally shot to his right, and then he's like, "Oh, good thing I hit a stormtrooper."
Because I didn't realize what I was.
It's still dumb, but it's kind of funny because he's surprised it worked.
Yeah.
Whereas Kylo just does this.
As a side note, I think Han. I haven't watched for a while, but Han was handled pretty well in that film. Besides being killed off. No,
because he's a smuggler again, and he's really grumpy and old, and he left Leia, and
you know what? I forgot about that.
He's also a bad smuggler now. Yeah. So you have that whole bit where the two gangs meet on his ship, and there's this one guy who's like, "There's no one left in the galaxy for you to swindle, Han Solo." So he's done such a bad job at swindling that everyone knows his tricks now. He's just a lame old smuggler who can't.
Dude, I forgot about all that. I take back my comment. I take it back. He sucked. He had some alright action pieces.
I will say, he was probably treated. He was treated better than Luke.
For sure.
But so was Leia. I don't know which of those two was treated worse.
I think Leia just got so much nothing that there wasn't enough bad.
Yeah, she just kind of got some. She just was made to be stupid and a little mean, but like Han was regressed as a character and Luke was regressed as a character.
Leia's just like it's just the bland nothingness, which is so.
Lando obviously like escaped the best of. Yeah. Well, and Chewie. Chewie didn't. Well.
But Chewie's in there the most.
No, Chewie's in a lot, and he's just an Uber driver. Chewie is worthless. Lando actually does something. R2 does nothing. 3PO does basically nothing.
They hashed in some stuff in this.
So, Lando escapes the best out of anyone.
Out of anyone. He was alright, yeah. I feel like after every movie, it's like, what does Darth Vader say? He's like, perhaps you feel you are being treated unfairly. And the fan base is like, this deal keeps getting worse all the time.
So, and then Kylo meets up your keys are gonna jangle and make noises.
Jingle jangle.
I have keys, guys.
I've got spurs that jingle, jangle, jingle.
What?
As I go riding merrily along.
Woo!
What's this from?
It's a song.
So Knights of Ren are
Most
here.
people know it from Fallout New Vegas.
Okay.
Knights of Ren are at the Sith Temple thing.
They're just here, even though, let's be clear, they are the Knights of Ren.
They're Kylo Ren's bros.
Yeah.
As stated in Force Awakens, Snoke's like, Kylo, master of the Knights of Ren. He's the master of the Knights of Ren. And they're just here,
Like
guarding Palpatine.
Not-
suddenly.
Yeah.
And then Kylo walks in, and they're like, all right, time to beat up Kylo. Let's do this. I always hated that jerk.
Yeah. And they don't talk.
They don't say anything. None of them ever say a word. They just circle around him. They're like, all right, time to keep him from getting to Palpatine. It's like, they don't go like, Kylo, what are you doing wearing a sweater? What?
Bro, where's your lightsaber?
No, they're just like, it's redeemed Kylo here to kill Palpatine.
Yeah.
Let's stop him.
And like,
But you don't know that.
And every time they show up, it's like, oh, I forgot they were in this
It would
movie.
actually be like
They're here again?
interesting if they were like, it would still be dumb that they're here, but if he shows up and they're like, Kylo, what are your orders, Master?
yeah, and then he's
Master
like,
Ren?
let's go
and he's
fight
like,
Palpy.
time to kill Palpatine.
And then they have a cool fight with Palpy.
And maybe
then they all
maybe
die.
some of them like refuse, and so there's like infighting. It would be something. It would be something.
And as we'll see in a moment, these random guards show up for Rey to fight for no reason. So you
Yeah.
could have had them fight
literally
them or something.
They just like spawn.
And Rey's like, I'm not gonna kill you, Palpatine. Like she says, I'm not gonna do it or something.
Yeah, and I mean she can't because she'll be possessed. So if we can't have a lightsaber fight
But
with
I also
Palpatine
remember
because
her
he
saying
wants
she
to.
will kill him at some point.
Yeah, I think that's when she was mad
Like,
about him killing her
Later,
parents.
she's like, now I'm gonna kill you or something. I think.
I
But
don't
right
know.
now,
That's
she's
another
like,
thing. She
not-
does kill him.
Yeah,
and he does not possess her.
Yeah.
He does not, and the ritual is completed.
So,
What in the world?
Kylo starts like fighting the Knights of Ren with the Force. And he doesn't do that well. And then Rey starts. There's another one of these long shots of Rey where she's thinking, and we play the entire Star Wars theme. And yeah, it's like Palpatine. Yeah, this is it. Palpatine's like, strike me down.
He's
with
puckering
your
up. He's like,
hatred."
yeah, I'm
And
gonna
then
die.
Rey raises her saber. We get a long shot. Entire Star Wars theme plays, and then she puts it behind her back. Whoa! And takes her hand back, and it's gone. What? That's weird. And then cut to Kylo. Oh, he took it from his back. What a weird way to do that.
Is this now you see me, now you don't Star Wars edition? What is this?
I will be being personal preference. I think it would be way cooler if she had like turned to her left and thrown the saber and like it flies through their Skype call connection and he takes it out of the air where he is, as opposed to just putting it behind her back.
'Cause we all know
or
what's
even
going
just
on.
turning it off and handing it to him through the Force would be cooler than weirdly dropping it behind your back into his hand that you know is somehow there without looking.
But also,
it's such a weird moment.
But also, okay, so like logistically, Adam Driver is taller than Daisy Ridley.
He is crouched over. Actually,
like,
okay.
He is actually hunched over.
All right,
in
then
the
that
moment,
works
I
a little
believe.
bit better.
And then he takes it out, ignite, and shows it to the Knights of Ren, and does this stupid comedic shrug. It's like, yeah, I got a saber now, and then starts fighting them.
I think it was a nod to Han Solo.
I
He
think
used to do
so,
that.
but it's just like, you haven't earned that at all. You don't just suddenly start showing Solo mannerisms now that you're a Goodman.
It's because he's silly Goodman.
He's
a
silly,
silly
funny Goodman
Goodman.
now.
And
If Vader had survived, he would have been doing silly stuff, because when you're a Goodman, you do silly things.
He'd be real
sure.
So he starts absolutely slaughtering them, and they can't fight back. because they have medieval weapons.
God,
and there's this bit where he goes over against a wall, puts the saber behind his back, like holding it parallel with his spine, and just leaning over in a corner, and they all just like hit the saber on his back, and he smiles. He's like, "Ha got you!" And it's like, what is that moment?
This choreography?
What does he do there? Just swing for his legs. You can kneecap him.
The Knights of Ren were, I don't know, they
were supposed to be something. Turned out they've been nothing the whole time.
So bad.
And he kills them all. And Rey, we're intercutting this with Rey killing these random guards that have spawned. And by the way, she's like pulling their blasters out of the air with the Force and throwing them through them.
Yeah.
And then she like throws a guy at another dude.
It's insane.
These guys come out of nowhere, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, she turns on God mode.
Yeah. And then Kylo runs in, and they switch sabers, don't they? Like,
I'm not sure.
She gives him Leia's saber and takes back Luke's or something.
And at this
point,
happens. This is also the point where the people show up.
The people.
Every ship ever.
Like all the ships.
Yeah. Okay.
So many.
We cut back upstairs, and Poe is like, no one's coming, and then suddenly you hear Lando's voice and he's like, except us, or something dumb like that.
And he says the line twice.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
And then pan to see just a million ships all clustered in this really tight crowd. And it's like,
you mean to say
they're just suddenly here.
You guys didn't need an antenna?
Yeah, how did they get
how
here?
Did you?
That's more than the Star
How did
Destroyers.
you get here?
And none of
all of you went through this space jello. All of you, did you follow the beacons? What happened?
How did? And
I guess they followed the beacons. Sure.
Now
they all came in at once, though.
Now that they're here, they don't have weapons to fight, so they're just targets.
Because then we get
or Holdo maneuver
get to this shot where on one of the Star Destroyers, where I think General Pride is like, the Republic, the New Republic doesn't have a navy. What is this? And you get this random officer who's like, they're not a navy, sir. They're just people. So they're just a bunch of civilian freighters. Whoop-de-doo.
It's like Dunkirk. Little people on their boats coming in.
Okay, I wanted to, because you've made this joke to me before, and that's because it's a real event in history. This happens, and it was because they didn't have a navy back then.
Right,
their navy had been blown up, so it makes sense.
It makes sense there.
But here, where are they coming from? Because in Dunkirk, in history, they're like, "Hey, you British people, we need your help because we're screwed. We're gonna, like, do you guys want to get invaded by Nazis? Because that's not fun. I mean, there weren't Nazis yet, but in this, they're like, who is their audience that they're broadcasting to, and that like will come within 16 hours and say we gotta go save the universe? How? Who?
What was Lando's pitch? Was he like,
yeah,
hey, we have about 10,000 Star Destroyers to blow up, and each one has a planet-killing weapon, and they're coming in like 8 hours, so
and then
help or we're all dead?
And Uncle Sam
just
points
that charming.
at people and just like, we want you
to come. Resistance needs you.
And then come die with us.
And
dine with us.
Like what? Was his pitch literally like, Palpatine is gonna blow up literally every planet in the galaxy with his thousands of planet-killing weapons, so it's either this or die anyway?
I mean, maybe the galaxy was playing Fortnite and they got the message from Palpatine.
Why is it in Fortnite?
So anyway, every ship ever shows up.
And apparently even like Fortnite people, like people that love Fortnite, they hate this update.
Really?
Along with the majority of updates, but they're like, this is shit. Because lightsabers, they're overpowered and you can deflect bullets and everyone hates them.
Huh.
Like, so no one's actually playing Fortnite right now because the Star Wars update ruined it.
Huh. So, then the navigation tower, lowers into the ground and gets turned off or something.
Yeah.
And they transfer the signal.
Yeah, because General Pride is like, they're like, sir, they're attacking our navigation tower, which we only have one of because we're idiots. And then he's like, it's fine, just transfer to the navigation tower on my ship. And
why was it
so his ship has that, and they just do that, and they're all fine. And then they're like, the resistance is like, oh crap, what do we do? And then Finn just looks out the window, sees a specific ship, which is for some reason like separated from the others.
Yeah, it's in like a different formation.
And then he's like, it's on that one. And they're just like, I think Jana, it's either Jana or Rose or something, is like, how do you know? And he's like, I have a feeling.
I've got to beat it.
Hooked on feeling.
And so then he says over comms to the entire fleet, he says it's on that ship.
It's like, oh yeah, that
And they're
one.
like, oh yeah, that one. And they all go to it.
The one with the red trim, or the one with the red trims?
No, guys, the one with the massive antenna.
So they all go to it, and instead of another thing they tell us that there's so much information in just one moment that they give us about this fleet battle. Their shields don't work in atmosphere. They explicitly say, and oh, by the way, their shields don't work while they're in atmosphere, so this will be easy.
What kind of BS logic is that?
So
you have built
that's never been the case.
Terrible
It's
ships.
never been the case. So their shields explicitly don't work. So this navigation tower, even if it was shielded on the ground, which was why you would need a ground team, if that was the case, it's on a Star Destroyer now, which is not shielded. So you can just blow it up with the X-Wing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But no, they're like, all right, what are we going to do? And Finn's like, we launch a ground attack.
I really
on the Star Destroyer.
I really liked my horse plan.
So
Can we still do that?
Can we still do that, please? So they land a transport on the side of a Star Destroyer, and horses charge out of it. And BB-8 is there too. Why is he in the fight?
What's he gonna do?
He's not a battle droid.
Because he's a toy seller and he needs to be somewhere.
And he's keeping up with the horses.
Which
he's like faster than them. And
he leads the charge pretty much.
yeah. And then you get a first order officer who's like, no, General Pride is like, well, they're using ground attack. Well, jam their speeders. They won't get through. And then it's like, sir, they're not using speeders. And then we get that, and the horses, and then they're charging across the Star Destroyer. You can just tilt the Star Destroyer like 15 degrees. They all fall off.
It's like, no,
it's so beautiful.
we have hatches in our Star Destroyer for troopers to come out of and shoot in case our Star Destroyer is attacked.
Now we have a battle on the side of the Star Destroyer, and
It's a
they're all trying.
awful looking
Don't know
set
why
piece.
they landed on the opposite end of the navigation tower. You could just land right next to it.
And okay.
Why you gotta
And-
lead a charge against it? What is that gonna do?
No.
Nothing.
But this set piece looks awful.
It looks really
so
bad.
The colors and everything, it was terrible.
And then, so to actually blow up the satellite, they go to this random hatch that seems to
throw
have
grenades
that seems
in.
has no correlation with like the antenna thing.
Yeah, the whole time I was like, what are they doing? Are they trying to go? I thought they were trying to go inside so they could like disable it from the inside or something.
That made sense to me.
I was like, you could just throw the charges up at the tower that's like 10 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they throw it down and that somehow blows it up.
chain reaction.
But it
blows
was
up.
like the most lame explosion I've ever. It was like poof, and it's just gone. It's like
Right.
oh, and
It's-
and then we get this cut of General Price saying, no matter, reboot our systems, so they could just reboot an exploded navigation tower.
Or like, did you need a reboot so you could self-navigate finally?
I think I
Is
should have
that how
taken out
this
the tower,
works?
like, just take it out, and then that would make for some
Absolutely.
interesting battle tactics. It's like, hey, we can lure these Star Destroyers into each other. Or something like that.
So then what? It's all such a mess. It's so bad.
Then
It's
they're
the
like,
least interesting space fight we've had in Star Wars by far.
It's all the gray and blue, I think, is visually uninteresting.
Visually, it's uninspiring. There's just so many Star Destroyers and nothing's actually happening, while also at the same time, there's so much happening.
We don't see any of the ships piloted by our characters either that we get to like. We can't be like, hey, there's a Falcon, it's going to do some cool stuff.
Well, we get a moment where it's like, oh, it's Zori Bliss, she's alive, and Poe's like, you're alive, and she's like, yeah.
We don't see them do anything, though.
No.
And then Babu Frick is in the ship.
Oh, yeah, Babu Frick is like, I'm Babu Frick!
For
and it's
a
like,
cheap laugh.
Hooray, this nothing character is here.
He's some reason in her ship.
And then there's also like no good music for this fight.
No,
at all.
There's no good music in this film.
And then yeah. And then we get this bit where Poe's like, all right, everybody, target the cannons. It's going to make their ships explode. And so they do, and that's what happens.
What?
Stuff explodes. They start exploding.
It's like, why didn't you do that earlier?
With the only 8 ships out of these thousands of ships that are now here, 8 of them have guns. The rest of them kind of don't. And so you're going to take out these thousands of ships one by one.
And then we get, of course, random shot of this old-looking man in a turret in a ship. And he just goes, good shot, Lando. And that's Wedge.
That's Wedge.
Wedge Antilles. Fun fact, he initially refused to come back for this trilogy because he thought he would be given a crap role. They must have offered him a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably was like, okay, I'll do it for $2 billion, but I can only be in one shot. That's as much as I am willing to be in this crappy franchise.
Then we're back in the arena, and Palpatine, what happens? When does he open the skylight? It's fine, whatever. It's
been open for a while.
I don't care.
Yeah.
It's open.
That was to coax
And
Rey.
What happens now? He's like,
hey, Diane.
Yeah, he somehow reaches out to them and somehow accidentally sucks a little energy out of them. And he's like, what? You're a dyad? Oh, well, screw everything I said. I'm just gonna suck the life out of you now. That's even better than my first plan.
Yes, I like this idea.
And so he just, they rush at him. And he just stops them with the Force. Yeah. It's like, all right, we're going to kill... Oh. Okay. I guess Palpatine can just do that. Okay.
Snoke did the same thing a film earlier.
So then he starts sucking the life out of them like Dementor style.
And it kind of looked like a... what's it called? When they summoned the animal ghost thing in Harry Potter. What's that called?
A Patronus. No.
It looked like a Patronus smoke he was pulling out of him.
Yeah. You're... Dementor.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Dementor. Yeah. But
because the Patronus is the thing that stops the Dementors, but the Dementors are the thing that suck the life out of you. So it looks like Dementor smoke. A little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Not Patronus smoke.
Well, looked like a little dumb Patronus to me. Anyway. We can cut that.
He's sucking out for a little bit, and then...
And his fingers, which are apparently the only damage he received from the Death Star explosion, grow back. Well, and his eyes, too. He gets his eyes.
They were oddly, CGI'd in or something.
And they turn back into, Sith eyes.
He gets a little job on his, costume, too.
Not there. Because Rey and Kylo fall unconscious, and then we cut back to the space battle for a bit, and then we cut back, and now he's changed. So he went away and changed while they were unconscious.
It's like, new plan, new wardrobe, yes.
And then Kylo stands back up, and he's dramatically gonna go in for one last attack or something, and then Palpatine's
as I fell, so falls the last Skywalker.
Yeah, doesn't he say this will be the last word in the story of Skywalker?
That's from the trailers. In the film, he says this is the last word. This is the last word in the story of rebellion.
Oh, right.
For some reason.
You're right, he does say that.
It doesn't make any sense.
And then Kylo just kind of rushes at it, and then he just yeets him into a pit that is suddenly in this arena.
And Kyle like busts his back on the side of it.
Shot, he slams into it.
Dude,
gone.
He rim shots him. He's
just
a basketball.
and it looks hilarious.
You might as well have thrown in the Willem scream.
It's a really funny shot.
Where is that in this movie anyway?
Don't remember hearing it. It's not in Last Jedi.
It's not?
No.
Terrible?
They intentionally didn't.
I feel like it should be banned from like film awards because if you don't have the Wilhelm scream, you're not a movie.
You're not a movie.
So yeah, he just falls in, and then like slow zoom in on Rey. Is just trying to wake up, and then we hear the voices of the Jedi past. We have Anakin, Obi-Wan played by Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan played by Alec Guinness, which was just a line they stole from the originals.
Qui-Gon's in there.
Qui-Gon,
Mace
Ayla
Windu.
Secura, Mace Windu, Ezra and Ahsoka, so thanks. I guess they're dead now.
Yay!
Even though by their age, they should still be alive at this point in time, I think. But now they're dead.
And the Ghost shows up in the fleet, too.
And
we see it by the Falcon.
Oh, yeah, the Ghost does show up in the fleet. And then there's Luminara Unduli too, and Anakin. I think we said that.
Yeah. Hayden Christensen, big boy.
Ayo.
And they do not.
Yoda's in there too.
Yoda's in there too.
Yeah.
Hayden does not sound like himself.
No, he doesn't. He sounds sad.
Yeah, he sounds like he has Watson.
And he says, "Rey, bring balance to the Force as I did." It's like, okay.
I mean, you honestly like.
Not in this timeline, you didn't. According to the sequel trilogy, you did not, in fact, bring balance to the Force because Palpatine lived. Ooh. But sure, like he did.
Yeah, like we all thought he did. But
and then they're all like, Rey. And it's like, why this specific group of like 9 Jedi? Because it's clearly not just ones that are Force ghosts, because Mace Windu didn't become a Force ghost. Luminara Unduli didn't. Ayla Secura didn't. No. So what's with that? So it's just
cheap nostalgia is what it is.
Yeah.
You know these voices?
It doesn't work in your story.
If it's every Jedi that's ever lived, there should be 1 million voices.
Yeah.
But no, it's just like 12.
And
then she stands back up and takes her lightsaber. And is this when we get the base boost? Or was this earlier?
Yeah. So
it's so hard to keep track of this
Kylo
scene.
In the pit. Yeah. He chucks Kylo in the pit,
and then he looks up. And this will be the last word in the story of Rebellion. I think is when he says.
I think that's when she pulls up her lightsaber.
Whatever.
I'm pretty sure because I saw a leaked clip.
Sure.
I rewatched a leaked clip recently.
And then he looks up, and he's about to shoot his lightning. He does, but instead of like the normal sound, it goes.
All other audio cuts out.
And it's just a big fart. It's a big bass-boosted fart.
The Sith monks are like, yeah, Palpy, drop them bars, bro.
It's straight up
it's a rot.
Where earlier, Rey's lightning blew up a shuttle. Palpatine's lightning just EMPs all the good guys' ships.
I mean, he should have just said Legatius los Luces. Like, just said like EMP.
And then we get a shot of the lightning coming out
of
the
box. For our listeners
box.
at home who don't know what Ian just said, that was a reference to Overwatch.
Sombrita.
Where a character named Sombra has an ability that's an EMP.
And she yells, Viscandias los Luces. I believe it's something like that. I don't speak Spanish.
So we cut to a shot
it's
of
something
the box.
Very different from that,
of the box likely. Again. The lightning is coming out of the box, and we see that, in fact, the box is above the
do we?
Because there's a shot of the lightning coming out of the box.
That's stupid.
Yeah. See,
and it's EMPing all the good guys' ships.
And the bad
this
guys,
lasts for a while. I don't remember if it hits the bad guys too. And this is lasting for a while, but don't worry, no good guy ships get hurt from this.
No.
They all turn back on when moments later he turns off his lightning because Rey stands back up. And he's like, I'm gonna kill you.
You can't just take one hand and hit her with it?
Okay. Yeah. So then he turns this lightning that he was EMPing an entire fleet with onto Rey, and it all goes into her saber somehow, and it's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the saber's just like...
and she's like, this is difficult.
No, she's not. Her arm is just
you're right. It's pretty stable. I'm exaggerating. I'm trying to make it better.
But it's not.
And then Palpatine is like, I am all the Sith! And then she says,
I'm all the Jedi!
And he ruined the dramatic build-up, man.
There's not a dramatic build-up.
There's a very, very extremely melodramatic build-up.
She's like, and I
force pulls the saber that Kylo had all the way to her other hand, grabs it. I am all the Jedi. Ignites it, creates a cross to ward off the demon that is Palpatine, and
then he has this stupid scream,
and he goes
like,
"Oh!" and where one saber didn't deflect any lightning, two do.
Oh yeah,
2 is enough to deal with this. So if Luke or Mace Windu had 2 sabers when fighting Palpatine, he would have died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they were just that stupid. It was that lame an answer.
Good thing they didn't, though, because it would have caused a massive explosion if he died.
Yeah, so it all goes back into him. He doesn't stop at any point. And here's why this is dumb. You could say, oh, but he never stopped shooting lightning before. It never killed him before. In the prequels, he's shooting lightning at Mace Windu and it's reflecting back into him. But it is for the purpose of manipulating Anakin to show that he's
letting
losing.
It happen. Yeah.
To show that Mace Windu is killing him. And this is what makes Anakin fall to the dark side. Because he likes Palpatine, and Mace Windu, who he doesn't like, is killing Palpatine. That's one of many dozens of different reasons. It's not all executed well, but there are tons of reasons for Anakin to turn to the dark side in this moment. And it all culminates like that, and it's not killing him.
And even within that scene, he stops.
He does actually stop, too.
Yeah.
And then, in the originals, when he's thrown into a pit, he just keeps lightning up into the sky. But, it's not going back into him. He's shooting lightning at Luke, and then Vader picks him up and tosses him into a pit, and he's still shooting lightning the whole time.
Because he's killing Vader with that.
I don't know. I honestly don't know why, because it's not hitting Vader, really. It hits Vader when he's falling down a pit, yes. Yeah. But it's not when he picks him up and he's still shooting into the sky. It does look a little bit funny, I will absolutely admit. Yeah. But it's not going back into him. It's not hurting him. It doesn't get him killed. What gets him killed is being yeeted down a pit.
Killed, quotation marks, I
now
guess.
It's quotation marks. But this time, he wants to win. His only goal is to kill Rey in this moment. And it's reflecting back into his face, and it's disintegrating him. And he just keeps doing it until he disappears into a cloud of dust.
It's honestly one of the more gruesome things I've seen in Star Wars. His face is
fairly
shredded.
gruesome. And then he disappears into a cloud of dust, and then moments after, he's just ash. There's a big explosion for some reason, like a big blast wave that disintegrates every single person in the grandstands and the grandstands.
It's like, oh, remember when the Eye of Sauron blew up?
that works because Mordor is tied to his... that works because Mordor is tied to his power!
I mean,
and the explosion of the eye is like an actual, explosion?
Yeah, unless, they're all conjured by him. And if so, then
maybe those are all his clones.
Just like the fleet.
Maybe those are all clones of Palpatine.
They're all his ego.
Yeah, he says, we missed it. He says, you mentioned it. He says something about the ritual being complete, but it doesn't mean anything. He says that back when Rey is unconscious. And then Rey just falls over from the effort of that somehow, even though all of it was going into her saber.
Because there has to be some consequence.
And then Kylo randomly climbs out of the pit, crawls over to her, cradles her in his arms, is really sad, and then
gives her a big ol' hug.
And then uses Force Heal on her. So, apparently, he somehow, bringing her back, kills him. Don't know why it is.
Yeah.
A lot of people are, I guess, are speculating. I've heard people saying that he had so little left and she was dead, and he put what little was left in him into her, and then he died. But it was enough to bring her back.
How it's used is
what is this nebulous life force?
I mean,
what is it?
Is this, do you think,
is it how much midichlorians is in your body?
Was it somehow like Padme and Anakin in the prequels? With that life force thing?
I guess.
Because then it establishes that.
But
it's not bad. It's lame, but like establishes that this was a power before of some kind.
But like, so if he can, what if he transfers his life force into Rey, and then Rey transfers hers back into him, and he transfers it back to him. They just go back and forth, like
until
opposite of Romeo and Juliet style, until someone shows up to actually put them in intensive care.
And also, okay, so if Rey...
I mean, you could do it. Or is some, like, lost every time, so you get diminishing returns? Like, what?
Yeah.
And if this healing thing is, like, it heals you, like, medically, like you have to, like, be, like, a cold corpse. Because, like, if this ability is just like, oh, I'm breathing life into a different thing that was once alive, you could just bring dead people back.
Yeah, like, how close to death
is it? Like, oh, your heartbeat's still, like, you can...
Yeah, is it where your body is still warm? Is it decomposition hasn't set it?
Throws out, like, the whole life force thing.
It's just not... It doesn't work, basically. Oh. So, then he brings her back, and he has several moments where he's still alive. And he
laughs. He's like...
He smiles at her. They do a kiss, and it's weird and makes no sense.
I hid my face in my shirt at that point.
And he's smiling at her. And there's a lot of speculation that this scene was, like, cut really weird and reshot, and apparently, like, Rey's mouth is moving during that really long shot where he's smiling and looking at her. Apparently she's, like, saying, like, 4 sentences in that long shot, but they cut the audio out for some reason. And then he just falls over dead. And we linger on his face for a few seconds, and then he begins to fade, and then we immediately cut to Rey, and she doesn't react in any way. And then we cut back, and he continues fading.
It's so awkward.
I don't know why they started fading him and then cut, like, the same moment they started fading. Yeah. And then cut, like, it...
Why? And then also...
That must have been editing.
At this point, Leia has not faded.
Yeah, Leia hasn't faded yet. She's still a body.
And then when Ben fades, Leia is then... allowed to fade, like her body.
Yeah, they fade at the same time for some reason. And I remember Maz being there and like giving like a knowing smile.
Yeah,
like, I understand why she's fading now. Shut up, Maz. Get out of here.
Who are you, stupid?
You're worthless.
You should have stayed in Force Awakens.
Does this have to do with like what Luke said? He was like, she didn't want to because she saw her son die. She needed someone to complete her journey.
God, I hope not.
It probably is.
That's what it is. I think.
Dumb.
So then...
Once Rey completed her journey for
Rey
her.
just stands up and she has, like, no reaction to Kylo being dead. Mm-hmm. And then...
She just wanted to kiss him.
All the ships
she wanted to use him.
Are blowing up. Every single ship is blowing up.
And crashes
There's some weird bit where, like, Finn and Janna are staying on General Pryde's flagship. I don't remember why.
Yeah, Rose is there too.
Rose is there too.
Obviously, this is just a mess. And
it's like they had to do one more thing, and it like ensured the flagship blew up or something. But yeah, he's like, they're just gonna reboot their systems. We have to stay. I have to stay
he
here
gets
to blow
on a
this
turret
up.
thing, and they turn it towards the bridge and shoot it.
And Jen is like, "I'll stay with you." It's like, okay.
And then the Falcon swoops in and just picks them up.
And picks them up
of a crashing Star Destroyer.
And also, when they shoot at the thing, like I think we might have talked about this earlier, but like the stupid like ragdoll that Pryde does when he dies.
Yeah.
So dumb.
Dude, even like the guy in Pirates of the Caribbean 3 got a better death.
He did. Freaking.
It's just about as over dramatic, but at least it was cool.
I didn't see.
Totally right. The guy when he's like walking down the steps of his ship as it's exploding.
There's like
it's so melodramatic, but he got a better death than Pryde.
Mm-hmm. Which is fair because Pryde
he actually had more character than Pryde.
Pryde was a character? Pryde was just a concept in a screenplay.
So they jump onto the Falcon, and then in the next shot, the Falcon is like sideways and flying away. So it's like, okay, I guess they got inside in time. And the ship executors into the surface of the planet, and everything is blowing up and falling and crashing for some reason. I'm still not sure why the fleet is dead now. And then, there was also a shot, we didn't talk about this, like there's that first shot where Kylo shows up and sees the X-Wing and runs away, and then a little bit later, there's another shot showing his X-Wing. Like, his TIE Fighter.
His TIE Fighter.
It's like, by the way, this is how he got here.
And by the way, TIE fighters from that era do not have hyperdrive.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be he got a TIE fighter from the wreckage of the Death Star, which they didn't have hyperdrives back then. So it's possible for him to have gotten here, but okay, moving on.
Point is, he had a ship, guys.
And everything's blowing up, and then we get celebration back on the jungle planet. Everyone's happy for some reason. Poe hugs Claude, who was in the first scene and is not in any of the rest of the movie. And
we have the first gay kiss, right?
Yeah, we have a lesbian couple kissing that was cut out of all the overseas releases.
It was really
shockingly, as in not shockingly, not shocked at all that they cut that for China. And
I missed
the
that
Middle East
part.
You missed that?
It's not even obvious that they're both women.
Yeah,
it's not even clear.
So it's nice that they didn't beat us over the head with it. I mean,
and
you should include it because it's a part of.
It's it's fine, whatever. It doesn't matter. But it's just like they put it in there to get praise.
They did,
and then they also cut it out of Across the Seas releases, which means you're not praiseworthy. You're not being brave.
And I'm
just trying to cash in on woke points. That's it.
That's right, exactly.
And I didn't even know it was in there. Mm-hmm. I watched the same film you guys did.
No, if you don't know there's going to be a lesbian kiss in that moment, you will not notice it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter.
Also, so
why would you?
Aside from main characters kissing, like Han and Leia and then later Reylo, do unnamed characters kiss?
I don't think so, but I don't think it's a problem.
I don't think it's a problem. It's just I think it's weird.
It's just the only reason it feels unnatural is because you can tell they're putting it in there. To get the
when it's
point.
But it's also people have been crying for Finn and Poe to be in a gay relationship since the beginning, but they don't do that. But here, as consolation prize, have a lesbian kiss.
Just for whatever. Yeah. It's just lame.
And then there's that wanna smash nod between Zori and Poe.
Yep.
Where Zori's just on the planet, shows up on the planet. She came back here for some reason, and Poe is like, "Hey," and she's like, "No," and he's like, "Oh."
Yeah,
it's like, okay.
Poe loses, his character loses one last time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Last nail in the coffin.
If he had the Hux motivation to be like, I just want them to lose, it would make more sense than Hux.
And then Rey, Finn, and Poe have a really intense hug that doesn't feel earned. It felt like I was looking and I was like, hey, look, the actors are happy to be done.
Yeah, right.
And
oh my goodness.
And then we cut to Tatooine. Rey has, for some reason, gone to Tatooine.
In the Falcon.
We don't know why. I don't know. I don't think she would know that this is where everything started unless Leia told her for some reason.
No, Leia's the only person that would know. Lando might know.
Yeah, I can believe anyone from the OT knowing, but just why would they tell Rey?
I don't why would they? Yeah, why would they tell them in the time they were? Because
if she asked, "Where should I bury Luke and Leia's sabers?" they would not say Tatooine, because Luke hated Tatooine. Anakin hated Tatooine. Tatooine is the worst place for Skywalkers. They hate it, and it means nothing to Leia. She didn't grow up there. She grew up on Alderaan, which is gone.
Yep. So maybe.
I don't know,
maybe
put it in a shrine on the Coruscant Jedi Temple or something? Yeah. I don't know.
Or Yavin. They like Yavin.
Yavin, sure. Not Tatooine. It's only there to be symbolic for, hey, the original trilogy, which was the start of this saga chronologically in our history.
The final scene, it doesn't end on Tatooine. The final scene is on Tatooine. Is the Tatooine even, in the rest of the movies, the sequels?
No.
This is the first time it's there.
The first time Tatooine is in the sequels.
So what? But so
wouldn't it be really nice to see Coruscant again?
Yeah,
I would love to see Coruscant.
Go back to Naboo. That's where
that's where Palpatine's
That's where Padme came from, and Palpatine's. It's a really important planet, and it's still around,
dude. We
get an ending shot of Ewoks and Endor and a Star Destroyer falling behind Bespin. Sure.
Also, before we get to the Tatooine stuff, just really quick, I want to mention Chewie randomly gets a medal.
Oh yeah, Maz just gives him a medal, and it's like, okay,
whatever.
It's only there because people have memed for years that he never got a medal in A New Hope. This would work fine if everyone got a medal.
It's just tagged on.
If you just had everyone getting a medal and he also gets one, it'd be like, hey, he finally got his medal. But no, now it's like, oh, I guess he finally gets his medal.
And Maz is giving it to him?
Yeah. And he didn't do anything in the battle either.
Because there's, no one from OT or someone of actual importance to give him a medal.
Imagine, Lando. Or even freaking 3PO or R2 would be better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not Maz. No. And then, so Tatooine, she goes to the Lars homestead.
Somehow she finds that.
I
thought it was burnt down.
I mean, yeah. There was
crispy, but
definitely a fire. It was still it
was still intact. I mean, it's a building.
Yeah. And we have a callback to her sliding on a sled out of the wreckage of the Star Destroyer in Force Awakens when we first meet her, and she slides down a very, very short, very not steep hill into the Lars homestead, and it looks like a little awkward.
That's all you have for your character?
And then she just kind of looks around and then walks back out.
It's like the culmination of your character arc. Is she like sledding?
She likes sledding on unconventional surfaces.
You can't sled on sand.
It would be fine. It would actually be kind of cute as a callback if she had an actual arc and ended up in a different place. But no, she ends this trilogy the same way she started it. Alone on a desert planet.
Yeah.
And then she walks outside and buries Luke and Leia's lightsabers in the sand, which is horrible.
Why is she bringing Leia's
there? They hate sand.
Leia's had no connection.
Leia's?
Also, logistically, sand moves.
And she buries it 2 feet, so you can easily find those.
You can easily find
horrible
them.
place.
And just the way sand moves in the desert, those will be uncovered and just
sometime in the future. Yeah.
Always. They will constantly be on the surface.
And she's using the Force to bury them, and it looks kind of awkward, but I guess it's neat. And whatever. I don't like it, but it could be bias. And then this random lady walks along, she's like, who are you? No one's been around these parts in 1,000 years.
It's but you have? What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Why are you here?
And then she's like, I'm Rey. And
what's your last name?
A real response would be okay, but no, I asked you what you're doing here. Why are you here? But no, she's like, Rey who? And we get another really, really long shot of her face as the entire main theme plays. She looks to the right, sees the Force ghosts of Luke and Leia standing in the distance. And they smile for no reason. They really shouldn't be smiling at this. And then she goes, Rey Skywalker. And I can only imagine Luke going, hold on, wait,
the fuck?
Give it back! And then she walks over to a ridge, and I can just, the lady's gone.
And the shots are so weird.
The lady would be like, who's that?
Wait, come here.
What? Why are you walking away? We had a conversation. Bitch!
Get off my property, you darn kids!
And she just randomly exits the conversation like it's a video game dialogue and walks over to this spot, and we see the twin suns, which are apparently rising instead of setting because it's the rise of Skywalker.
But that makes no sense. Because,
but sunset would be closing the trilogy. Yeah, it would. Yeah. And in one shot, one of the suns is directly behind the other, and just peeking over the top. In the final shot, it's 15 feet up and to the left from it.
The way those shots are edited are just terrible.
She's standing
and then
there
she just
for 2 moon cycles
for no reason.
It's why does she care about the sun?
With BB-8 randomly with her. That's Poe's droid.
Yeah.
By the way. And then the end.
Dun, 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 bang, 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 bang,
I want to die.
Trash.
end of a saga. 42 years in the making.
42 years in the making.
Dude, was talking about the trailer the other day. Like, they have a shot in one of these teasers where it's just the names of reviewers, not what they said.
Yeah.
It's like, guess what? These people saw this movie.
Yeah.
There's like no praise for this.
They also didn't like it, but sure, you're not gonna put that in.
Yeah, they didn't say like what they reviewed it was. It was just like all these publication studio, like all these places that publish news reviews and movie reviews, but they didn't have any reviews. They just said they reviewed it.
What a shite film. It's really bad. Garbage.
Alright, now after this podcast, I don't plan on thinking about this film hopefully forever. I don't want to think about it anymore.
It's hard. It's hard. When I watched Return of the Jedi a couple days ago, and I just kept thinking about all the bad choices they made, where the threads went to in their films.
Yep.
And it's distracting. It distracts.
It makes it hard to watch because you know how badly everything ends up. Mm-hmm. And it feels sucky because it's like, oh, all these guys died and accomplished nothing.
And I think it's easy to just be like, oh, it's not canon, but it's hard when you literally have seen the actors and the films.
It's tough. We'll get over it eventually, but it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a damn shame.
You were going to talk about the production?
Well, first, is this movie worse than The Last Jedi?
I think I talked about this a little bit. I went through more physical pain watching this film, but in retrospect, I hate The Last Jedi more.
See, I went through more physical pain watching Last Jedi.
Right, which makes sense. I think I was too blind to what it was doing.
And, that film so thoroughly destroys Luke Skywalker. This movie destroys the accomplishment of at the end of Return of the Jedi. And it kind of hurts the Force a little bit more, but I don't know if it destroys anyone so thoroughly as Luke Skywalker was in The Last Jedi. And
this film was a result of The Last Jedi too.
Yeah, and Last Jedi's errors are there's so many different kinds of problems, and this movie is just really contrived. It's just a lot of luck, a lot of contrivance,
a lot of plot devices as well.
But it's just it's not outright impossible all the time. I mean, the 16 hours it happening in is impossible.
It's impossible.
So is Last Jedi's 18 hours.
But this film just feels underbaked. The script feels underbaked. And Last Jedi felt like it was finished. It was confident what it was, but what it was horrifying.
I thought that script felt underbaked too. I mean, it certainly was. It was
not
the first draft. So.
Rise of Skywalker is doughy. They still they barely closed the oven door on it. Yeah. And Last Jedi. You got a little bit of bubbles.
I think it's because Last Jedi was so firm in its agenda to destroy everything.
This movie just feels like trying to do something. It's trying desperately to do damage control, but it's just not good at it. Really, really bad at it, in fact.
So, what is your answer?
My answer is Last Jedi is definitely worse. Definitely worse as a Star Wars film. And as a film, it's bad too.
Yeah, I would say
especially considering Ryan had complete control over what he was doing.
And supposedly...
And JJ had to play catch-up.
JJ has not had good control over this movie. According to this production info leak. So this guy posted this saying he has a friend, or at least someone he knows, who worked closely on the production of The Rise of Skywalker. And he said he has verified it, but obviously he can't share it because he wants to protect the guy's identity. So the leaker said the guys who leaked Rise of Skywalker had an agenda and are tied to Disney directly. My source confessed that they have an agenda as well in that they struggle with ignoring what's been happening to someone who they think doesn't deserve it. Don't know what that means. JJ always treated everyone on and off set with respect, so my source's agenda is that what Disney has done to JJ and how much they screwed him over should be something people are at least aware of, whether you like him as a filmmaker or not. So, this could be damage control fake by Disney.
By Disney?
To make JJ look better. Or someone who just likes JJ doing this. Probably not Disney, because this actually makes Disney look bad. Yeah, it could be that.
It could be.
Or this could be legit. It sounds very plausible to me, so I believe it.
It's a good, also, for if it's me a lie, it's a good one.
For me personally, just moment of honesty, I think JJ's films are probably generally my favorite blockbusters to watch.
Really like Star Trek 2009. I think we talked about it. I think it's a decent movie. And Force Awakens was initially deceptively good, but obviously at closer inspection it's not, so that doesn't really count. Super 8 is also a film. It's a decent film.
Yeah, it ends a little weird.
And also, these Star Wars films, I mean, I didn't think that felt like JJ films.
No. Especially not this one. Definitely, like, you could see all his bad writing tropes.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it, but it feels a little different.
Partially because he co-wrote it.
Disney was one of the studios who were in that Bad Robot bidding war last year. Bad Robot is the company that JJ is, like, really closely affiliated with. I don't know if he owns it or what, but...
Yeah, sure. All his films have that, though.
Yeah. Disney never had much interest in Bad Robot as a company, but they did in JJ because they saw Warner Brothers, who JJ went with in the end, as a major threat. JJ is very successful at bringing franchises back, like Mission Impossible, Star Trek, and Star Wars. Warner Bros. Is struggling with DC, and aside from Wonder Woman, DC is still seen as a bit of a joke in its current state by the GA. I don't know what the GA is.
General audience?
Yeah, probably. Mm-hmm. Warner Brothers wants Abrams for some DC projects. My source said that this generation's Star Wars is the MCU, and Marvel's biggest threat is a well-operational DC. Fully armed and operational DC universe. They want to keep DC in the limbo that they're in right now. Abrams jumpstarting that franchise with something like a successful audience-pleasing Superman movie makes them nervous. Their goal is to make JJ look bad to potential investors or shareholders. My source mentioned this shortly after the premiere. The Rise of Skywalker we saw last night was not the Rise of Skywalker we thought we worked on. JJ was devastated and blindsided by this. He's been feeling down over the last 6 months because of some of the ridiculous demands Disney had that changed his movie's story. While the scenes were shot, a lot of the changes were made in post-production, and the audio was re-recorded and altered. My source said they've never seen anything like this happen before. He's the director, and he wasn't in the know about what they were doing behind his back. Apparently, JJ felt threatened over the month leading up to the premiere. Also, they clarified that line in the comments, saying he felt like his reputation was being threatened, not his physically. Life.
No.
Ryan was never meant to do 9, despite some rumors that he was. JJ was brought back by Iger, not Kathleen Kennedy. Disney insisted on more fan service, less controversy. I believe that 100%. JJ's original agreement when he signed on was indicating he would have way more creative control than he did on The Force Awakens. It became evident this wasn't the case only a couple of weeks into shooting when the trouble with meddling started. JJ wanted to do some scenes he thought were important, but Disney shut it down, citing budgetary reasons. May 2019, JJ argued that those scenes were crucial. He had to let go of one of them. The other scene he insisted on was approved at first. He did reshoots and additional photography in July. The new scene was shot at Bad Robot in October. The ending that will blow your mind, which is a thing that some people said about the ending, was a part of this. Older actors were included, like Hayden, Ewan, and Samuel, and anyone who wasn't animated. The Force Ghosts weren't meant to be voices, because they shot that footage on camera. The actors were in costumes. Rey was supposed to be surrounded by the Force Ghosts, to serve as a sort of barrier between her and the Sith surrounding them, which is a thing that was in the original draft for Return of the Jedi. Obi-Wan and Yoda were supposed to come back while Palpatine was shooting lightning at Luke and act as a barrier between his lightning and let him stand back up. So it's conceivably a thing that he took from that draft and was trying to work into this movie. I'm glad that was cut from Return of the Jedi, because... Mm-hmm. I'm sure George Lucas was like, wait, that means they're corporeal, and that wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Because he's smart like that. My source thinks but can't 100% confirm that this is because of China. It's an office talk of sorts. So, I don't know if you guys know, China doesn't, allow having ghosts show up.
It's not like Japan, where Japan glorifies.
So,
okay. I didn't know that about Japan.
Some VFX people claim they got a list of approved shades of blue they could use on the Force ghosts.
What?
Cutting this out was when the bad blood turned into a nightmare for JJ because the movie he was making was suddenly unrecognizable to him in almost every way. My source knows JJ well enough to know that he's just not the yelling type, but apparently in a meeting, he yelled something along the lines of, "Why don't you just put directed and written by Lucasfilm then?" My source wasn't present for that exchange, but knows some who were. If that's true, that's... Whoa. That's intense.
Oh, JJ.
Disney demanded they shoot some scenes that would have things in it for merchandise. They Fly Now is one of them. It's also JJ's least favorite scene. At a November screening of a 2-hour and 37-minute cut, he cringed, groaned, and laughed when the scene was on. That's true. Wow.
Me too, bro. I have the same reaction.
The same thing.
My source says that JJ was most likely not joking when he said "you're right" in the interview where they asked him about Rise of Skywalker criticism. Yeah, there's an interview where someone was like, so have you heard this recent Rise of Skywalker criticism? What do you think about it? And he's like, they're right. That's what he said in the interview. He did go on to say, but also if you like it, you're also right. So I read it as trying to appease both sides, being a mediator, but...
Which is a safe thing for him.
JJ's original early November cut was 3 hours and 2 minutes long. In January, JJ suggested that they turn this into 2 films. My source told me this well before Terrio mentioned it in an interview a couple of days ago, which Terrio did. When Disney said no, JJ was content with making this 3 hours long. Over a period of 9 months, JJ started realizing that one by one, his ideas and whole scenes were being thrown out the window or entirely altered by people who have, quote-unquote, no business meddling with the creatives. They were not on the same page when it came to creative decisions, and it became obvious that Disney had an agenda in addition to wanting to please shareholders. Disney could afford messing up 9 for the sake of the bigger picture when it came to protecting things unrelated to 9, assumedly the MCU, which is actually making them money, unlike Star Wars. Mm-hmm. The cut JJ eventually and hesitantly agreed to in early December was 2 hours and 37 minutes long. It wasn't the cut we saw, which he wouldn't have approved of, and which is 2 hours and 22 minutes long. Apart from the Force Ghosts, there were other crucial and emotional scenes missing. The cut they released looked, quote-unquote, chopped and taped back together with weak Scotch tape. Apparently, JJ's words. Really explain... I mean, if that's true, yeah. The editing is terrible.
Yeah, so maybe they had to do stuff to cut out his... Yeah.
The movie opened with Rey's training. Her first scene with Rose was shortly after Rey damaged BB-8 during the training. Rose made a silly joke about how Poe was going to kill her for damaging BB-8. I'm fine with losing that. There was a moment where Rey took a minute to process what just happened when she saw that vision during training. That would have been good. She looked distressed and worried. The next scene was noise as the Falcon was landing, and Rey runs over there. Those 2 women who kissed at the end were visible in this shot, and they were holding hands. Okay? One of them ran toward the Falcon as it landed. It does make it feel less forced. Kylo on Mustafar's scene was 2 minutes longer. There was a moment where Kylo seemed a bit dizzy and his vision was shown as blurry for a second, almost as if time half stopped while everyone in the background was slow-mo fighting. Kylo hears Vader's breathing, then shakes his head and goes back, and time goes back to moving at a normal pace, and he jumps right back into the battle. The scene from the trailer where he knocks that guy down, which did end up in the movie. I don't really care that we lost that, unfortunately, because that doesn't seem important.
But also, there's probably a lot more.
Yeah.
That contextualizes that later in the film.
Yeah.
In JJ's version.
They cut some of the scenes from the lightspeed skipping segment. Some of the planets that were cut were Kashyyyk, Naboo, and Kamino. Apparently, they were going to skip through those. While it would be cool to see those again in new CGI, it's crazy that they would happen to go through all those 3.
Especially Kamino.
So I'm fine with those cut. The scene where the TIE fighters are chasing them through the iceberg, those corridors were inspired by a video game JJ used to play in the 90s called Rebel Assault 2, the 3rd level in the game with the tunnels on Endor specifically. Okay, I don't know why that's fine. Jana confirmed to be Lando's daughter. Rey not only healed Kylo's face scar, but she killed... Yeah, apparently, when she heals his chest wound, it also heals his face scar. But she killed Kylo when she healed Ben. Kylo ceased to exist when Rey healed him. Yeah. My source mentioned that some people assume it was Han Solo who healed him, or redeemed him, I think he means. But that isn't true, and that wasn't Han Solo. That was Leia using her own memories as well as Ben's to create a physical manifestation of his own thoughts to nudge him towards what he needed to do. That was her own way of communicating that with him, and it wasn't possible without her dying in the process, which is stupid. She made the ultimate sacrifice for her son, and this flew over people's heads with the Disney cut. Sure did.
Yeah, no, that's not how it was cut.
You're just a memory. The late November cut, the last cut JJ approved of, had scenes with Rose and Rey still. JJ wanted to give her a more meaningful arc. I don't know if that's Rose or Rey. Disney felt that it was too risky. My source mentioned that... I lost it. My source mentioned that Chris Terrio said that it was because of the Leia scenes, but this is only partially true because she had 4 other scenes, including 2 with Rey that Leia was not in. Finn wanting to tell Rey something was always meant to be Force sensitivity. In the 3-hour cut, it's explicitly stated. That would make sense. There was a moment when Janna and he were running on top of that Star Destroyer, and Finn needed to unlock or move something, and he force moved it and acted surprised when it happened. This was replaced in the movie with a CGI'd BB-8 fixing whatever he needed to fix on there. Babu Frick was nearly cut because some execs at Disney thought he would be the new Jar Jar. They are really surprised that people love him this much. He was JJ's idea, and he was created in collaboration with some artists and puppeteers. The personality was JJ. There were a bunch of scenes where Rey and Kylo separately went through quiet moments of reflection to deal with what they were going through. Good. The movie needed a lot of more of those scenes with people being... Like, that sounds important. On her part, her going through the realization that there's something sinister about her past. So, hey, actually dealing with the fact that she's a Palpatine. Him going through regret and remorse, but trying to shut it out. My source said that the Kylo scenes were especially amazing because of Adam's performance and how he managed to portray that inner turmoil. It provided much more context and added deeper meaning to both his battle with Rey and the final redemption arc at the end. It didn't happen so suddenly, and it was more structured than what we got. The Kylo Rey scene where he dies was at least 4 minutes longer with more dialogue. Ben was always supposed to die. Source also added that if he wasn't, then that might have been in an earlier draft which they haven't read. The first draft they read included Lando, the first few didn't. The Reylo kiss and Ben's death was not part of the reshoots, it was part of the re-editing. Even the cut that JJ thought was coming out earlier this month had a longer version of the scene that was shown in the theatrical cut than what was shown in the theatrical cut. Blech. JJ was against the Reylo kiss, or Reylo in general. This was Disney's attempt to please both sides of the fandom. JJ was not happy with where TLJ took the story. The final result is a mix of that story and the story told by Disney and whoever they tried to impress. Quote unquote, certainly not the fans. JJ is gutted over the final result. Star Wars means a lot to him. He had to sacrifice large chunks of the story in The Force Awakens, but he was promised more creative control on The Rise of Skywalker, and instead the leash they had him on was only tightened as time went by. A source said that this is the one franchise and the one piece of his work that he didn't want to mess up, and it instead turned into his worst nightmare. When he found out that he was blindsided with the cut they presented, he said, "What the fuck?" When Kylo was fighting the Knights of Ren at the end, the Williams music that was used for it was not what he wanted at all. He seemed to think it was out of place. JJ's cut still exists and quote-unquote will always exist. We most likely will never see it unless someone accidentally leaks it. One more thing. The source apparently asked around about Finn and Poe being in a relationship after Oscar Isaac made a comment about how Disney didn't want it to be a thing. This is true. JJ fought to make it happen. This is why Oscar Isaac is blaming Disney. It's not just a random throwaway comment. He knows for a fact that it was Disney because these discussions happened. The main cast is insanely close with JJ and are just as pissed, though seemingly more outspoken about it than JJ. During The Force Awakens, Disney was hesitant to hire John Boyega because a woman was front and center, so they deemed that risky enough. So bringing in a male lead who's black made them nervous. Idiots. It's not a... JJ fought to make that happen for about 9 months before getting approval, and I have heard that before. The same issue came up when JJ fought to have Finn and Poe in The Rise of Skywalker, but he lost that battle as he lost many creative battles for this film. Many people, JJ included, came to the realization during this production that the story really is told by the shareholders and investors instead of the creatives or anyone at Disney specifically. He tried to make a lot of things happen and was shut down because of this. They had him on a leash, and many blamed The Last Jedi for the stricter creative approach. Because famously, Rian Johnson was allowed to do literally anything he wanted. Like he said, they didn't stop me from doing anything.
So it's almost like they used him and destroyed him so that DC as well can't make a comeback.
And there was a leak a while ago that said Starkiller Base was Kathleen Kennedy's idea. And Chris Terrio recently said that Palpatine coming back was also Kathleen Kennedy's idea. And there was a leak about the original plan for this movie from JJ was supposed to have the son from the Mortis arc of Clone Wars. And he was supposed to be the villain, played by Matt Smith, who I wonder if you guys remember, was supposed to be in this movie. Matt Smith was hired on to act in this film.
Yeah, they thought he was going to be the young emperor or something.
And he just wasn't in it. And supposedly he was supposed to be the son. And they filmed some stuff, but it was all completely cut because Kathleen Kennedy didn't like it.
How long does JJ have a contract with Disney? Is he free?
No idea.
I hope he's not stuck, bro.
I mean, I hate the idea that Disney is sabotaging good directors. Just like destroy.
Quote, unquote, yeah.
They're sabotaging directors or making sure they never get good.
Yeah.
In order to undercut
keep their baby, the MCU.
They're hecking like they're doing the thing where like, oh, I'll destroy half of myself to make sure my opponent loses.
Yeah, it's scummy as hell. And I believe it. I actually believe that leak fully. It definitely does seem to make JJ look really good, which is a little, like, that's a little sketchy. Like, that's the most suspicious part about all that is how defensive of JJ it is, and how, oh, look, it wasn't any of his fault. None of this is his fault. But also, like, the stuff it was talking about, like, doesn't sound like his cut would be, like, an amazing film or anything.
No.
It just makes it sound like it cut some important things that would make it less despicable.
At least in the specifics they provided. We don't know what the earlier...
If there was more,
if there were earlier
sure.
drafts
if there were earlier
with, like,
drafts,
the sun and that sort of thing.
If that's true,
it could have been a totally different film.
Okay, I'm forgetting, what's the sun again?
So, in the Mortis arc in Clone Wars, Obi-Wan and Anakin and Ahsoka accidentally fall into this weird... It seems like it's a Force dream. It's like a trilogy of episodes.
That one.
Yeah, with the father, son, and daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like Force gods.
Yeah, I remember
the
those.
son, he was supposed to be the villain, supposedly, according to a leak.
That could be
And the dagger of Mortis, do you remember the dagger in that story? The dagger in The Rise of Skywalker is supposedly a leftover from that original draft, where they had the dagger of Mortis. And that's why there's actually a dagger in this movie, because he wanted to hold on to that, or for some reason. It's just like cannibalizing the original script is what that leak was assuming. What that supposed leak was saying.
Oof. Man.
Yeah. So that all sucks. The movie sucks.
Star Wars was just viciously murdered.
Yeah.
That is very sad.
Even just artistically, like, you not only ruined a franchise, but a lot of people.
Yeah. You really messed with a lot of people's passion. Their favorite things, their childhood heroes, their childhood memories. Ruining a lot of that.
I mean, they didn't even get what they wanted.
No.
They didn't even get the money they wanted.
It's just all so dumb. The incompetence is staggering.
The thing for me that's really annoying is that a lot of this goes unnoticed, too. A lot of people just go and watch these movies and they're like, yeah, they're fun.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm excited for Black Widow. Or Spider-Man, when's Tom Holland coming back again? He's so cute. And now they're doing this, too, where, like, Robert Downey Jr. is in, like, a Doolittle movie. Yeah. Tom Holland and Chris Pratt are in an anime movie. It's like they're using their actors, so people will be like, "Oh,
yeah, it's all
Iron
so
Man's in that
soulless."
movie."
I mean, it's
and people watch this sequel and they're like, "Oh, Star Wars has always been dumb. It's just fun, dumb stuff." Like, no, the original trilogy has a lot to say, actually.
But
and framed in a really fun universe.
Yeah.
That is not silly or dumb. I will remind you, it is a fantasy. Fantasy is not inherently silly or dumb. That is an inherently silly or dumb idea. Fantasy is just fiction. It's just you accept that it's another world that has strange things in it. There's nothing silly or dumb about it. It's just another world, and it is internally consistent. Except when the sequel trilogy comes along. And it's not internally consistent. That's the thing with fiction. We criticize it according to its own rules. So when fiction starts breaking its rules, you don't just say, well, it's fiction. It's allowed to do that. They're allowed to be stupid. It's just a movie. No. No.
The best works of fantasy stick to the rules better than everything else.
Yeah. Like,
I'm like,
do you think people are stupid in the Lord of the Rings? Everyone's smart in those stories. No one's dumb in those.
The one that's
only one makes sense for someone to be dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one. Even the people that
Denethor's dumb,
even though
but he
has reasons. He's
like,
power
especially
hungry
in the
and corrupt.
books. Especially in the books.
Yeah.
Like, it explains how he became this way.
Yeah.
And
people don't just exist as dumb. They do things they think are smart.
Yeah.
And in these movies, people don't do things that even they would think are smart.
Mm-hmm.
They do things that the script wants them to do, so that X cool thing, or X nostalgic thing that the shareholders wanted to happen, happens. It's sad and soulless and depressing. This is what happened with our favorite stories.
It's scary, like, to think about filmmaking in general, just how much of a production line, like assembly line it is now.
Yeah.
Like,
it
how
stopped
do we
being
know?
an art and it started being a product.
money printing scheme.
Yeah. It's not it turned from the family bakery down the street that had special recipes and handmade every piece of bread into like a corporate bakery franchise that has shops on every street corner,
and
none of the bread is handmade.
And they make the bread in like a toxic waste factory.
Yeah.
It's fake bread.
Yeah.
Leaves a really bad aftertaste.
It's made with like
Yeah.
it's made with like sand and like car oil.
Is this GMO free?
Is that it? Did we cover everything we wanted to cover? I mean,
Essentially, yeah.
Well, guess that wraps up our Rise of Skywalker rant review.
Yep.
Thanks for tuning in, and like we say at the end of every episode,
Love you, miss you, want you, but not that much. Star Wars really doesn't love you, miss you, or want you. It fucking hates you.
Something that's dead can't hate you.
Raven of Many Hats will have much more content in the future.
Oh yeah!
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna. You thought this is my only Rise of Skywalker stuff? I'm gonna make a video essay on this. I'm gonna make a whole review.
More themes and
Yeah, covering it, and even you thought this was comprehensive?
Just wait.
Love you, miss you, want you.
Not
That much.
That.